What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Heavy Metallurgy. It's Friday. It is episode number 271. I hope you've all had a great week and are surviving the heat. And if you're in the northern climes of America, I hope you are breathing well in this murky, yellow, plastic-smelling soup that we've got flowing around our atmosphere. And I am joined by a whole host of people, one of which is one of the best co-hosts on the internet. Alan, what's shaking?
So I've been downgraded from the best to one of the best.
Well, there's other people here. I didn't want to, start a feud with everybody down below. Like, no, mine's the best. But, I was trying to play democratic there. So
I see.
You're still the best. You're still the best. You get the trophy.
Dig yourself out of that hole if you can.
diggy hole.
Good to see everybody. I hope folks in the chat are doing well. Welcome to another Friday night. It's been, a long, hot week for many people across the U.S. and other parts of the world. But hopefully everyone's having a good summer, having a good time. I think there's still soccer things happening for folks that are into that. And, we'll hang out. We'll have some fun. And we've brought on a crew. I think 3 is big enough to call a crew.
Motley crew, yes.
You said it, not me.
We have been invaded by the Fomorian Productions gang, the Mayhem Sundays power trio.
But it's Friday.
But it is Friday. I know everybody's
is it Friday or is it Sunday?
Yeah, James is like, wow, my Friday and my Sunday all wrapped into one. I said, hey, me too.
We'll split the difference. Everybody, welcome to Saturday night.
Yeah, right on.
I like it. I can deal with that.
Ryan Parsons, thanks for the super chat. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yes, welcome everybody. I know Lee's a regular around these parts, but we've got some fine folks. Trevor, Shredbeard, what's going on, brother?
Hails all. Thank you, Metalheads. Thank you, first and foremost, to Marty and Alan. Thank you for inviting me on. I was running around texting all my friends and family who give a shit that I'm going to be on the show tonight. I'm so happy.
And they said, what? What? Who?
Yeah. Only half. But thanks for the invite. We get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, thrash metal, and I actually live in the Bay Area. I somewhat live it every day. Not really. I'm a dad who doesn't live it every day anymore, but we're still here. I love this subject. I cannot wait to talk about Bay Area thrash.
Hell yeah. Miss A, you're new to these parts as well, other than, a chat dweller. How's it going?
Hello. Thanks for having me. It's going good. I hope everyone's having a more breathable time now that it's nighttime. But guess what? Tomorrow around here, tornadoes.
Ta-da.
Yay. But thanks for having me on. It's good to see everyone in the chat. Hello, everyone who I've not known yet. Hello.
Right on. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And, of course, Lee, what's shaking?
Well, seeing that this is my home away from home now, I guess, yeah, man, it's good. It's good to be back. I like I was saying before we got here, this feels like Sunday because of these two people, and I don't know if I'm happy about it. But, the spotlight is mine, and I will take it. But no, man, it's good to be here. It's good to have my co-hosts and my partner.
Better half.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the word partner. Can I just start off with that? I hate the word partner. To me, it feels like it's a weird business thing.
You can just say wife.
And Miss A is my wife, so I'm going to say she is my wife. So there you go. I'm not ashamed to say it, guys.
Well, it's good to have all you fine folks, and I guess the best thing to do for those in the chat who may not be familiar with Mayhem Sundays, I guess this all kind of started over on your channel, did it not, Trevor?
Yeah, it ended up being something we wanted to do over here. I ended up meeting Lee and Miss A few years ago. Miss A kindly offered to help me produce the show on my channel with the various different live streams we were doing, but they were very random. I didn't have any specific idea in mind, and her and Lee came to me for the Mayhem Sunday specifically, and just said, hey, why don't we do a show? Let's pick a day that we can all 3 do it. And we're also not on when others are, going to be on. That's unique to us, and let's come up with a theme. Let's do a variety show. And I love that idea. And as we all know, we started out with a good friend of ours, Toasty, the Toasted Goat. He did 24 amazing episodes with us. Thank you, Toasty. Always be thankful to him. And then, as the shows go, you develop things. It wasn't anything with Toasty. We just needed to sort of move on and develop different things, and the true form of keeping things variety, we changed the host, and to this day we're still friends though and all that, and things are evolving in a really cool way. Lee's a really good producer and co-host, and Miss A's a great producer in the background, so they could probably pontificate a little more about that if they'd like.
Yeah, let's pontificate on that, but also variety show is the key term here, and I mean really something that the metal sphere of YouTube certainly is lacking. I mean, what do you think that YouTube was lacking that made you guys kind of want to throw in something a little bit more, lighthearted per se, and with a lot of different topics? Miss A, will kind of go with you. What's the mission directive here?
Well, we're all we all really enjoy all the channels that we watch, you guys and Necron and just a lot of great channels, and everybody really is really good at doing the reviews and just kind of playing stuff for people and requests, and we wanted to do something just a little bit different because we don't want to step on toes. Everybody's really good at what they already do, so we thought, wouldn't it be funny and fun if it was kind of like a variety show, like back in the day in the 70s, where they would laughing almost, where everything was just crazy. Sometimes we're doing interviews, sometimes there's games, sometimes it's just chaos, and it would kind of put a little levity into also playing music and also doing reviews and also just kind of bullshitting around. So we try to keep it fresh and fun and let everybody be good at what they're good at and do something a little different, and we hope you guys like it.
Hell yeah. Lee, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I was always, I guess, that person that would reach out. And I mean, it was just because we knew so many people through the other shows that, we figured, well, we could get some of these people on, and some of them are, interesting, and some of them weren't. But, the funny thing was we, a lot of the chats that or a lot of the shows that we were frequenting, there was this a stigma about not liking some bands, and maybe lack of knowledge, and so people were just, I don't know whether they were afraid to say what they wanted to say, or they had to like what the host was saying was good. And I was like, man, this isn't fun. I don't know all your bands, and I'm not going to be here and look like a shithead because I don't know what you were listening to back in 1986. And we're like, we don't want to do that. We want to do some music, some other stuff, and then that's how we started. We just got these guys on it, and we didn't ask them just nerdy questions. We were asking fun stuff. What do you do on your day? Why would you? We were just trying to bring some humanity back to it, and not just pounce on people because they didn't, know the first album or the first demo Possessed put out in fucking 1962 or some shit. That wasn't our plan. So that's how this morphed into what you've got today, which is mostly not music actually, but sometimes we throw some stuff on here and there. Like this Sunday, there's going to be a good music show. But we just wanted something that was more accessible and less judgy or gatekeepy.
Yeah.
So, okay, you guys have laid a groundwork. It's already proven to have a unique voice in our metal YouTube community. Obviously, a show as it progresses, you find out what works and what doesn't, and kind of have a vision for progression. How have you seen the show progressing, and what do you hope? I mean, this is pie in the sky question here, but what do you hope you guys can achieve with the show moving forward? Who wants to go first?
Our fearless leader. Go, Shred.
I'll go first. I mean, it's evolving on its own. We didn't really have a direction at first. So to ask where it's going to go, I guess the sky is the limit. like Lee said, we're not gatekeepers. We're here about, to sound weird and cliche, inclusivity for metalheads. You can be a metalhead, a kid up to an adult, and I don't recommend little kids watch the show, but, if you're like that middle school...
I'm going to say that's probably a safe bet. You keep them off the... Yeah.
Middle school on, teenager, let's say. But, I mean, sky's the limit. This is something where we've thought about doing merch with it. What we're really doing is Fomorian Productions, which is our company, it's our underground metal label, is actually producing the show. So if it's going anywhere, it's taking us in more of a direction of content creation, right? For YouTube, Instagram mostly. I think... Miss A, do we have a TikTok or something? We might have a couple other platforms that I'm not involved in running.
Oh, you guys do dances too? That's cool. Ellen, we need to work on that.
Flash mobs.
I know there was a bunch of platforms we were trying to do things on. We initially tried to do Bandcamp. I hated that. It was such a hard thing to use because it's not available on all the platforms. Where I'd like to see this show is, again, it's a weekly show where we have, if we could get thousands of people watching, that'd be great. But I want to keep it underground. It's got to be for the people that like the music, not the views. As we know, there's a lot of people on this platform that are about the views and getting... If there was 2 people watching, I truly believe we would still do the show.
Well, us too. Us too.
Yeah. I guess sort of circled around your question, I suppose, but again,
it's a pie in the sky. What do you want?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to talk to Peter Steele. Reanimate his corpse. I want to interview his penis. Whatever. I mean, that's.
Let's put it this way: if we could all 3 quit our real jobs and this be our job, that would be fucking awesome. But that is super unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah.
Marty, I know necromancy involves dealing with stiffs, but that was taking it a little bit far.
If you guys don't want to talk necromancy, we'll talk after the show. Me and Alan might know a few things. Anyway,
Right.
Miss A, you want to pile on to what Shred was talking about?
I just wanted to say I made a TikTok account like a year ago, and I have never, ever posted on it. I don't even know how to make content for it. So we do have one. It exists. It just has 0 things and no followers, so it basically doesn't exist. But what I would like to do with this channel, if we could, is I would love to, like Shred said, I'd love to make this like a full-time thing. You see all these kids that are 18 and 22, and this is like their full-time job. I would love to do that, be making content.
Until you do it, a lot of those people hate their lives because they have to feed that beast. You have to be constantly feeding it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. But I would feed that beast if it meant having Devin Townsend on. So I'd be okay with that. I'd
Right
feed
on.
the beast. I would be like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, where he had to paint his walls with the blood. You guys ever read that comic book? I would do that for Devin Townsend. Just saying.
Right on. Lee.
Chop liver over here. No,
You
I
need to
disagree.
skull
With,
it, bro.
I disagree with both of them.
Shave it.
I mean, look, I always loved Howard Stern. I thought that kind of
Yes.
where he built that world within the studio, and there was all these storylines going on, and they would filter back in and peter out and come back around. And we started to try and mimic some of the I wouldn't say humor, but I mean, because that guy was a genius. But I kind of liked also to, I mean, nothing to do with fucking what anyone believes here, right? But I liked the way, like, Joe Rogan would get guests that were one day astronauts, and then one day a guy who looks at pyramids and shit. So I was like, yeah, let's get some guests now which have interesting shit to say, or at least do something cool. And so that's why we kind of morphed into like the ghost hunting stuff. Like, we got a ghost hunter on, and we almost got a UFO expert on. That was a fucking car crash. And also too, that type of stuff, like that car crash would have provided way more content than having this guy on and everyone asking dumb questions about UFOs. So it's like I love the chaos when shit goes wrong, because that's when we all seem to be able to thrive through it. That's where your 2-hour shows come in, where it's just the three of us talking. But as far as a lot of people watching it, I enjoy seeing the numbers go up on shows where it's like, I think this is going to be a good show, and then you think you're going to have a good show because the guest is like an interesting guest, and then you find out that that's like half of what you had, and I'm like, I thought people would have really liked that. So you get to kind of pivot around, you try it a little bit over here, and and to talk to people like, we had Wyatt ex him on, and I've always wanted to talk to Wyatt. I find him highly entertaining. And, even guys like Aaron, like the metal theologian, like I love talking to people who just have a bizarre, rather sense of humor or opinion on things. There's nothing more exciting to me than listening to someone say black metal is not metal. I love that. That is like, let's all argue that point. And I'll do that all day long. And that's what people love. They love that argument, and it doesn't have to be aggressive. It can just be, how you guys handle it, and that's fun for us. So, I want to go into a more of a let's get a guy who does hostage negotiations. I want to speak to that guy, and I want to ask him the most stupidest questions on the planet, because that's funny to me. So that's what we're trying to push this into. But so far, we had Billy Milano on the line. He was like ready to go, and then his life took a header, and now we haven't got Billy Milano. But he would have been a fun guest, because he's like an outspoken dude. But yeah, it's just something. So Sunday doesn't have to be you thinking about going back to work on Monday, just for 2 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The keeping, isn't it the trick though? Keeping not only fan base you've curated or viewership you've curated interested week after week after week, but bringing in new people. That is, of course, Lee and I talk a lot about this behind the scenes, what to do to try to, not that we want quick, unstable growth, because that is always a slippery slope. You end up having to ban more people than you cherish, and you don't want to piss off the people that you've, curated over the years to sit in with you every week. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just kind of rambling here, but growth. Growth on the internet. Some people get it right. It's usually by means of negativity, which, more power to them. It's an avenue that works. What have you guys seen that works and doesn't? This might be boring content for people watching, but what works? What do you think? I will say consistency. That's a big part. Who wants to jump in on this real quick one here before we move on?
You have to feed the social media beast, as you said. Even if you were talking about if we did get to the point of where this was our full-time job, any true influencer with millions of followers, you're exactly right. They're taking pictures of the most innocuous, stupid shit. Their food, their shoes, the toilet paper at the restaurant. Your whole life is now out there. To where, at least with this, you have some sort of privacy. You know what I mean? But if you're looking to do it legit and you just want to get some people to follow your channel, make YouTube shorts. But you got to find something people are going to watch. You know what I mean? I watched John Barbas the other day. I think it was this week. And he was talking about how tricky it is to sort of find a few things that you can do. Because you can't just do one thing. You know what I mean? It's hard to do one thing to keep a certain amount of people interested, especially nowadays. You got to do 5 things really well in short bursts. You know what I mean? If I had to say. But I was leaving Morty messages the other day talking about, coming on this show and editing and promotion and all this. And it's like, a lot of it's fun right up until you get to the point of posting the shit. As soon as you got to sit down on this platform and that and spend that time, and I wish there was a lot more shortcuts to hashtag things and all that, and even Miss A's always giving me pointers about, here's a new thing we can hashtag. Or even my daughter, honestly, I asked my daughter, who's going to be a 7th grader this year, hey, what should I start hashtagging? She taught me to hashtag FYP. I'm like, what the hell is FYP? It's For You page. Just start hashtagging that in your videos, you know what I mean? And that puts it in a different algorithm. What's the other one? Recommended. Type in recommend, hashtag recommended. Just little stuff like that's really, I noticed,
You're talking too fast. I have to write this shit down. I'll rent your video on how to make it all work. Social media for idiots. For
Marty, you
old
got to sign up
idiots.
for their Patreon, then you get access to
Listen,
Trevor's
sign up
special
for
tips
our
video on
Patreon.
how to improve.
Yeah.
And then you can buy buy my course.
For
Part
Warhammer
series from
course.
Trevor.
I'll drink my
How-
AG
how
one
to,
first, and then
You gotta
check out
name
my
all your-
Jackery generator that was donated, and
Right.
Sir, not really.
Don't forget
but,
to mention Blue Chew. Blue
Yeah.
Chew's a big that's almost the most embarrassing thing about listening to certain podcasts. Like, I mean, okay, Marty, I know you listen to Bad Friends. I fucking love Bad Friends.
Yeah.
But like, I'll be in my truck or whatever. Even like, my kid had her friend over the other night for a sleepover. I'm listening to Bad Friends or Tiger Belly, one of them, and it's like Blue Chew Gold, and I'm like, and I'm trying to find my Bluetooth speaker and turn it down so that like this new friend that's over at our house doesn't like, hey, your dad's listening to what? You know what I
your
mean?
dad
Like,
doesn't get boners.
I think he might need the gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yep.
that kind of stuff.
How was your
Makes things
sleepover,
interesting.
Sally? Great, my friend's daddy is more aggressive in the bedroom again.
Alan, that was my exact thought, dude. I was like, what if this girl goes home? I met her dad like 3 times, and she's like, hey, Mom and Dad, Mr. Minnick is having trouble with his erectile. He's learned all about it while he was in the kitchen drinking beer, listening to his podcast, making us
Eating his
dinner.
funny little fruity candies that he eats and makes him funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, exactly, Marty.
Does anybody else want to chime in on this? I guess it was kind of just an aside. Anybody? Lee,
What
I'm
was the
sure you want.
What was the question?
I don't fucking remember.
I don't know,
How to expand, how to, get people.
Oh, God knows. If any of us knew that, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to each other, right? We'd be doing
that is true.
we'd be doing other
Yeah.
cool stuff.
I
Yeah.
have like
I don't know.
2% success.
I don't know. I just like when because all 3 of us fight like cats and dogs. None of us agree. I've been shut down so many times with stuff that I thought would be Academy Award winning skits, only to be told that I need to only imply things and not say names, which I think is completely boring. So I don't know, but I have noticed, because I've got my own show, which I kind of do, obviously before the Wednesday show, and I found that if you just go on there and you rant and you use people's names and you tell them how much you hate them, by all means, there's your view count, and that's a shame because I don't do that all the time, only but when something upsets me. But I think that the friction that we all have also kind of may not get the views because you guys don't see what's behind the scenes, but definitely keeps this interesting and fun going into the next show because we honestly don't know if half the things we're going to do are going to land. So, I mean, as far as views go, I think that's cool. If 20, 30 people show up, I think that's great. I'd much rather have a show where everyone at the end goes, fuck, man, that rocked. We didn't even see the 2 hours. It was just here it was, and then we're done.
Yeah. I think the most important thing out of all this, and where a lot of YouTubers express, the ones that really make it, the big time ones that are constantly, their whole life is online. They got so wrapped up in selling what they think people want to see. They're selling a character. I mean, there's some people in the metal crowd that do that too. We won't name names, but it's.
Bruh. Sorry.
No, it's just I'm not even saying that, but I think it's important
Love
to
you,
maintain who you are, so that way people meet you outside at a show. It's always cool. It's a cool interaction. It's not, you're not selling something that isn't legitimate.
I fully
Anyway.
support that. Yeah. Be authentic, please.
Right on. So, how does this all tie in with Fomorian Productions?
That's more.
Fomorian.
That has changed some. And we've kind of taken a forward step, a backward step, and a sideward step with this because we really don't know. We do find out that friends will send you broke. That's what we know.
Oh yeah,
And
no one wants to pay to put out their own shit, but they want the world.
Yeah, and we've come up against it, and things have gone well, things have gone bad, and that's a lot of it's been a learning experience for us, where we're like, we didn't set the ground rules going in. We thought that they would think that they're friends, we're gonna take it easy, or we're going to try to. No. It's as soon as someone's talking about their art, and rightfully so, they get very defensive and they want, almost the platinum album on the wall before they even do the artwork. And I mean, I was dealing with a lot of the putting stuff to manufacture and artwork at one point, and some people have been really cool. They're like, artwork is going to come with everything. And that was, some people even sent the media and just like, this is, you put it on this and we'll be great. And we love those people. And then some people just don't give you shit, and we're like, the fuck are we doing with this thing? And then it becomes an uphill drag. But we found out that this internet thing was making the bank account sing a little more in tune than releasing albums, which is sad. So we wanted to scale it back because we were really only helping friends' bands. And now it's like, it's not as fun as what it was. Or what wasn't fun as what the idea started out to be. So I'm like, instead of us all going to war with each other and end up hating each other, let's just kill the record side. Not completely, because we still want to do it, but just not, let's really look at it and say, well, if we don't think this thing's going to sell 100 CDs, then maybe potentially we don't do it, because that's going to be a hole in our pocket, and I don't want to use my own money for this,
Yeah.
So we have scaled it back, and we've concentrated more on the Sunday show.
Yeah,
But I do think that it's, kind of morphing a little bit, because we're still looking into music and stuff. We're also looking into merch, and we're looking into content. But it's hard because I have people contacting the Fomorian email, and I go through the emails and stuff. And I had one person contact me and said, "Oh, we really want to be on this label. We have bought stuff from like every band that you guys have. We've bought something." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great." And they're like, "We'd really like to be on it." And I was like, "Oh, that's fantastic. Like, what like genre are you? Like, let me hear some stuff." And the response was, "Well, we're gonna be like blackened, like death metal." And I said, "You're gonna be?" And he said, "Yeah, well, we haven't recorded anything yet. We haven't written anything yet. We don't have a band name, but we want to be on the label." And I was like, "Are you having plans to do it?" And they were like, "Yeah, like in the next like 2 years, but like we just wanted to like get it set up now so that." And I was like, "Just contact me in 2 years, man, because I don't have time for this." Like they don't even have a song written yet, but they want to be on it. And this is the kind of stuff that like eats up, like that ate up probably 3 days of like back and forth to find out they don't even have anything. Like, just tell me that in the beginning. Oh my God. So yeah, we're going this way with it. We're going to try to make it very, onion.
Yeah.
Onion.
Anything to tie it up?
The only thing I'll tie it up, the Fomorians, we're going to be doing underground music still, mostly content creation, a little bit of both. Something fun comes up, we're going to do it. The only thing I will say, too, to circle back to what Lee was saying a tiny bit is, I had friends of mine that was on YouTube before any label that as soon as we had a label was like, "Hey, we're going to do this project." And I never said like, yes. And then it was like, "Fuck you, dude. We're not your friend anymore." And I'm like, wow, owning a label is fun. Now half these people don't want to be my friend because I don't want to put their band on this. You know what I mean? Or I can't put my band on this because they're a little too old and they don't even have a digital file. And that's all I will say in the end.
Yeah.
So have files, people. Be prepared. But yeah, Fomorian rules. Look out for awesome shit in the future.
Well, the good news is here, folks, that if you're not familiar with Mayhem Sundays or Fomorian Productions, there are links in the description to both places. Go check that out. And also, we wanted to circle back around to our friend Mr. Lee. There is a new Warhammer track out called Bloodlust and Death. Thoughts?
There is.
You like it? What's going on? This is leading up to something. This is the second single from something that hasn't been announced yet. What's going on? What are we heading towards?
We're heading towards an album, and I wanted to try and spread this one out a bit because I am the rapid fire guy that's like, here's an EP, here's an EP, here's an EP, and that gets tired pretty quick. And then I was you know, people, I started hearing things like, oh my God, another one. And as soon as you start hearing that, it's like, oh man, okay, maybe, you know, looking at the Nunslaughter discography wasn't a great roadmap. But, you know, there's things where I took up this instrument and then I got all this stuff and I was just like a bull at a gate. But now it's like you take some time with some things and you can, you know, you can see some of the cooler stuff. So this was something that was written, you know, maybe have to be closing in on 2 years ago, and it's just been developing, and it basically turned into a like a, not a story, but it's got a theme, and you know, it's all about just, you know, dying alone, really, and what you leave and what type of, I guess, energy. If a lot of bad things happen someplace, you know, they say, well, that can be a haunted place. So I really like that because we, you know, Miss A and I really, we will go to like war fields and different things just to try and, you know, feel something or learn something. And, you know, that's really cool for us. So I wanted to take that idea and turn it into something. So every song has a storyline that is someone who's obviously wronged their life. And now it's time for them to end it. And not all of it is by their own hand, but it's just like it all circles back to one place, and that one place is you know, a fictitious mountain somewhere in Pennsylvania, because I saw the mountain, so I know what mountain in my mind. I can still see it, and it's just an ominous looking piece of landscape. So I'm like, that's where this album takes place, right at this mountain. So everyone dies. But it's what they're leaving behind, and you know, what they've done in their life to get to this point where they know they're passing on. So this song is really, you know, a father to a son that's, you know, held revenge and bad blood his entire life. He's been nothing but war. He's gone to war, and now he is dying, and he's passing this burden on to his son, who, you know, only knows what his father's taught him. So that curse is handed backwards, you know, or forwards, I should say, to his kid, and that's what this song is. So it's a father's letter to his dying father's letter to his son, and it was kind of cool.
Right on. Well, we don't normally do tracks on here, but I thought tonight would be a good time to, you know, kind of in the tribute to Mayhem Sunday, who do this thing a lot. Let's, if you're all cool with it, let's check out this song. Y'all ready?
Absolutely.
Ready?
All right, see if I can do this without screwing something up. All right, everybody be quiet. Your mics aren't going to mute. Here we go. There you have it. All right. There you go. A first for the channel. We played a song while we all sat here and, whoa, what's going on? Turn that off. Kept on playing. So, yeah, man.
Killing me.
Great job. Great job. And looking forward to hearing the album. I have heard a little snippet preview of it. Well, I've heard the whole thing, and it rules. It's great. Your best work. So it's going to be cool to hear this one unfold, and it's good to see all of you folks enjoying it. We appreciate you taking the time to sit and chill with us and check that out. But we're here for another reason. a different Bay Area, not the Bay down in Australia. I'm sure there's a couple of them down there. Who came up with this idea? It was Alan. It was Lee's idea.
You and Lee. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Bay Area Thrash. We've never really talked about this topic in particular. There's obviously all these bands we're going to talk about tonight have probably made an appearance once or twice on the channel through other lists and discussions. Hey, Times of Grace, Under Pressure, cheers, thanks a bunch for the super chat.
The lasers, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you. But yeah, Bay Area Thrash. We just decided we were going to pick our 10 favorite. Obviously, for me, this could change regularly as the years go on. But as of today's picking the list, Bay Area Thrash. One thing we kind of talked about in the background, that it was my surprise pulling up lists of Bay Area Thrash. Not a big well to choose from. There really isn't. And hey, Mike, thanks a bunch, man. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, not a lot to choose from, but a lot of the bands from that scene are still active today. And they've had, I guess you could consider a lot of these bands legacy acts, but since Lee picked the topic, we'll start with him. Bay Area Thrash, for you, how did this measure up in your journey?
This is this is your formative years. I mean, for me, coming from Kiss, then to hearing like my first Metallica, that was definitely like what is this? And I don't know if I like it. It always starts off the same way for me. But yeah, I mean, Bay Area. I mean, look, I think all the albums that I got tonight are things which I have definitely. You are all going to own, but I mean the stories of how these come to be, I think for everyone's a little different, but probably very similar. So being a 50-year-old man, I'm going to leave that one to the end, but being a 50-year-old man, there was one album, and I'm guessing it's a lot of people's albums out there which they first heard in the thrash genre, but I wanted to let's start with a band that I think is one of those things that, look, everyone knows them, everyone loves them, but this was like this first thrash album I got which no one else had, and it was very exciting for me. And that album, not an album so much as an EP, was Forbidden's Raw Evil. To have this in Australia was a big fucking deal, and I had this originally on vinyl, and I got this having heard Chalice of Blood, and this was one of those bands where the singer was singing, which was really bizarre for a thrash band. Like they were yelling, they were grunting, they were doing all types of crazy stuff. But Russ Anderson was a singer, and it was like if Judas Priest was a thrash band at this point, So Forbidden for me was my band in Australia. You all had Metallica, you all were big Megadeth fans, but for me it was like, well, I got something a little bit different. And Forbidden was that band, and then obviously everyone got it. There must have been a big influx of Forbidden shit coming to Australia at the time, but I would say, in my group of friends, I was very much the king of the world for about a week, having this cassette tape, or my vinyl at the time.
Miss A, I know you're kind of a journey woman. You like a whole bunch of musical styles, and where does Bay Area thrash metal play into your musical palette?
Well, so I'm probably going to have different picks than you guys because thrash is not like the genre I know the most about, but a lot of the thrash that I listen to is kind of crossover thrash. And I actually don't have any physicals of this stuff. Lee's really the like the collector between the two of us, and the stuff that I have physicals of is kind of like avant-garde, really weird shit. So I'm gonna just have to show you on my phone these albums. But the first one is, let's see if we've tried to, can you guys see that?
Yep. Let me blow you up here. Let me get rid of this comment real quick. There you go.
All right, so this album is by the band Frolic, and they're really, I mean, oh, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out how to work my computer here. Okay, they're actually a really interesting band. They have a lot of good stuff. This one is a Fusion of Spirits album. They do have another one, but this album is my favorite, and they do a lot of, like I said, it's like kind of crossover stuff. But have you ever heard of them?
No.
No? Oh, you should give them a listen. They're actually really good. They are like Bay Area, and they're kind of like a combination of like thrash, death, and I guess like a little bit of black metal. But their newest album is the Legacies of Cybernetica, I think. It's a little bit different. I prefer the first one that came out in 2022, but if you get a chance to listen to it, it's a different kind of form of thrash, and it's newer. I know it's not like the legacy ones, but none of the stuff I have here is legacy stuff. So you guys are either going to really like what I suggest, or you guys are going to hate it, but that's what I got.
Right on. Shred, where is Bay Area thrash for you in your lexicon of musical know-how?
Numero uno. Fucking, I grew up in the mountain. I live in the Bay Area now. I live in San Mateo, California, just across the bay. I lived in Oakland for like 10 years. I grew up on thrash. I grew up on Metallica specifically. Like the first metal I remember hearing at like 8 years old, my mom was working at the Pizza Plus in the jukebox with all the teenage kids that were like 15 smoking Marbies playing pool, hearing, you know, like Master of Puppets, or even before all that, you know what I mean, Ride the Light, any Metallica that was out at the time, but also like the Motley Crues and stuff, but mostly Bay Area thrash, because we were close. We had a lot of kids that were probably bad down in the East Bay and in the city down here, and their parents moved them up to the mountains. I met a couple kids that like brought me CDs and stuff that I never would have heard of if they didn't come from here. So yeah, Bay Area, I love the Bay Area thrash. I was surprised too, though, that when I did look at it, I have a stack sitting here, and I'm like, okay, I've got all the main legacy bands here, a lot of them. Some of them I thought I didn't have. But talking to Miss A today, I actually discovered even more underground ones that I didn't. I was actually a little jealous of her list. I was like, shit, you've got more underground bands on here than I do. I've got like 0. Everyone's going to know every single one of mine as a legacy band. So I don't know if you want me to start with, I'm starting with number 10, right?
I think this time we're just going to go through our, you know, entry point and, you know, what it meant, and we'll get into the honorable mentions here in a sec.
Okay, very good.
Alan, how about you? Same question. Bay Area thrash.
Yeah, I mean, like most folks around my age, it was pretty central to getting into heavy metal. Growing up out in the sticks, you know, kind of like Trevor did, you only had access to so much stuff. So at that time, you know, being 14, 15 years old, you didn't necessarily think of it as Bay Area thrash. It was just whatever thrash you happened to get a hold of. So we were discovering Metallica alongside Anthrax and Overkill and bands, you know, from Germany and stuff. It was kind of just whatever one of the kids happened to bring to school that week. We lived, there was no record store close by. You had to, it was a solid 60 to 90 minutes to get to a city big enough with a record store. And so, you know, maybe I think our family tended to go to the big city more often than others. And it was maybe like a once a month or 2 months trip. So yeah, it's just whenever a family went out to one of, you know, the bigger cities and the kid had a chance to hit the record store with some money, whatever they brought back was kind of what everybody got to check out. You didn't necessarily think of it as, oh, I'm going to pick up more Bay Area thrash. It's like, I'm going to pick up whatever looks cool, whatever's on sale, whatever's in the discount bin, whatever I saw on Headbangers Ball recently that just flipped my switch and I can't live without. But Bay Area thrash was obviously pretty central to a lot of that. Those were bands that were more visible in the U.S., better known, better distributed. Yeah, like in high school, you could get Testament cassettes at Walmart. And that was one of the few things you could find in our area that was a little bit heavier than just the Poisons and Def Leppards of the world. So yeah, the Bay Area stuff, of course, it's near and dear to the formative years. But I just want to make the point that we didn't necessarily just focus on like, oh, I don't listen to East Coast thrash. I only listen to Bay Area thrash. That kind of subdivision wasn't really noticeable to us as kids. You picked up on that maybe a little bit later once you had amassed a certain amount of thrash and could start to realize like, okay, these bands sound a little different from those bands now that I've heard enough of them to actually pick up on the differences.
Yeah, for me, I grew up in northern Michigan, and I was, 2 hours on the west side, 5 hours away on the east side of any sort of scene that was coming through. I was late to zines. I was late to tape trading. But going back to, high school, or was it before that? I don't remember. There was a radio station here in town. It still exists. It's called WNMC. It is a college radio station. And my buddy Scott, he could get it. He lived in town. He could get it. Where I lived, there was a hill and a million trees. There was no way that signal was getting, 20 miles out of Traverse City. So I would go over to his house and he would record the guy running the metal show. His name was Keith. And that's where we heard all the bangers, the Merciful Fates. And I remember the first thing that got me into thrash was, an entry point for a lot of people. It was Metallica. I think it was Fight Fire with Fire. It was on one of the shows, and my buddy Scott's like, check this out. And I'm like, this sucks. I mean, there's this yelling and hollering and screaming, and this is, I'm Dio, I'm Ozzy, I'm Kiss. I was still clinging to my Kiss early in my, my teenage years as well. And Rat and shit like that. So, I mean, the no singing thing, it took me a minute, but then he let me take the tape home, and I started listening to it. And it clicked pretty quickly. And then once that hit, all the Kiss posters, all those rare, old, classic Kiss posters were ripped off my wall, wadded up into a giant wad, and crammed into the garbage can. I kick myself a million times over for doing something so stupid, but it's that purge. This is garbage compared to this. And as soon as I entered on that path, the Slayers of the world was enamored by that, and the Anthraxes of the world. And it was just such an awakening. The whole Bay Area thrash thing was the linchpin. That was the gateway into a heavier world. And of course, my high school years were completely, as soon as I got a little bit of money coming in, I'm at Camelot Music trying to figure out how many tapes I can buy with my paltry amount of money. So yeah, for me, Bay Area thrash metal, I was a thrash kid growing up. I had to have everything. I had to hear everything. And, as you become completely overwhelmed as you get older hearing everything, that maybe is a little less of a thing you want to do. But back then, I was a sponge. I just had to take in as much information as I possibly could. And the Bay Area was a huge part of that, which, of course, we're about to get into here. But so, yeah, obviously, top 10 list is probably pretty intact for all of us, but is there any honorable mentions that you want to start off with? Miss A, did you want to forego this round and just go to the...
I can mention something.
Okay, cool. We'll start with you.
I'll be really quick, though.
Take as long as you want. It's all good.
Just as an honorable mention, because my list isn't in any kind of order, my intro to it was also, Metallica and Slayer and stuff, because I had older brothers, and so they weren't wanting to listen to any of the nonsense I had. So, and because we were a big family, they were watching me a lot, so I was exposed to the Slayer and Metallica and Megadeth at a very early age, and so they were definitely my jump-off point. So they're not technically honorable mentions, but they were the inception for me. So that's what I'll put out there.
Right on.
And one of the first concerts I ever went to, my brother had to babysit me, and he had tickets to a Slayer show. So he just drugged me along, and he hoped they would let me in. They didn't even try to get a ticket for me because I was 8. They just let him bring me in. So that, that was interesting.
And hope that you didn't die in the process of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time on his shoulders until like the pit started. And then I just kind of clung onto his leg. He was 6'7", so he was a, big guy. And that was fun for an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
How about you, Shred?
I have to now. This band ended up being from the Bay Area, but how could we mention Thrash without talking about the mighty Dirty Rotten Imbeciles? I mean, they came here in what, 82, 83 to the Bay, something like that. I was like 3 fucking years old. I was a little kid, but this will be my honorable mention because they finished their career. I think doesn't Spike still live here? Kurt, I think Kurt and Spike still live here in the Bay Area somewhere. I don't know where.
No idea.
But I'm a huge DRI guy. Shout out Mike Barnes, gave me this on cassette a gazillion years ago. He was a few years older than me. He was a skater dude from down here, moved to the little town I was in, and gave me that on cassette. And I was like, what is DRI? And I was blown away. Love all their albums, by the way.
I did, to this day, till you just said it, I always thought they were a Southern California band. They would have been in my list with Dealing With It. I didn't realize they relocated to the Bay Area. No idea.
Yeah, San Francisco, 82 or 83, something like that is when they moved. I always thought of them as a Bay Area kind of, but then mostly in LA for shows, you know what I mean, as well. Yeah. Once I started to go backwards with them, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Right on. How about you, Lee?
Yeah, the DRI, I actually got that album. I didn't pull it because I thought, I thought everyone would say, they're from Texas, you're an idiot. But DRI were funny because that was about the time where I found out that, skater kids didn't like the same music as me. We're all friends, but they had Suicidal and they had DRI. And DRI always interests me because this guy in my class who had that particular album, and he lent it to me, and I was like not super impressed with it, but for some reason I've got like an emotion towards it. Like I own it. Never listened to it, but I own it and I can't get rid of it. But the one that got me was Thrash Zone, which just because it had the word thrash in it. So I thought, it's thrash. Turns out it was a pretty bad album, but
it is.
Yeah,
it is thrashy. It is thrashier than their Inception. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I don't know if it's just nostalgia or just because I was in high school and I found out skater kids, and I lived on the beach, so it was skater kids and surfers. We were at each other's throats forever until DRI came about, and then suddenly we're all borrowing each other's Metallicas, Megadeths, and DRIs. So, I mean, yeah, I was going to say Heathen. I always loved Heathen, but Shred's little story is like, yeah, man, DRI had such a bigger impact on me than what I could ever say Heathen did. I just never owned anything from Heathen. But, yeah, DRI, I'm going with my co-host.
Right on.
Boy, buddy. We could touch tips.
Just touch the tips. Alan.
Let's see. I'll go through 5 honorable mentions real quick here. And these are honorable mentions for different reasons. One I wanted to mention was Ulysses Siren. This is really good stuff. They just did a couple of demos back in the day, though. And since we were talking more about albums for tonight, I decided it would be weird to have this as since it's not a real album. The band did get around to releasing an album much later.
That may have made it on my list. Oh, well.
No, that's okay. If someone wanted to include it, that's fine. I'm just saying that's why I left it off my list, as that it wasn't an actual album release at the time. But the demos on here are extremely good. If no one's ever checked it out, Ulysses Sirens, really top-notch stuff. And to your point about there not being an incredibly deep well of Bay Area bands, I agree. There are some unknowns that only made it to the demo stage. Like Enigmatic Tycho mentioned Assassin in the chat a little bit earlier. That's a good example. Ulysses Siren's kind of in that boat. Quick mention, honorable mention number 2 would be Sadis, Chemical Exposure. The reason this doesn't make the top 10 for me is simply that I don't have a long history with Sadis. I've only gotten into them in the past few years. They were one of those bands I just never got around to checking out until recently, so a great album, but it's not going to bypass albums that I've known for decades. Same exact thing with Blind Illusion, Sane Asylum. This one I had maybe 20 years ago, played it, and it was okay, but I ended up somebody else wanted it really bad, and I ended up trading it to them. And I only recently picked this one back up, so I just don't have a lot of history with it. It's a really interesting take on thrash. It shows a thrash band transitioning into the more technical proggy side, but not completely. Let's see. This one, I kind of went back and forth on this. I decided to put Kill 'Em All as an honorable mention because people can debate whether this is a fully formed thrash album or not. And that's a topic for another time. It also made it a little easier to fit other things into my top 10. The album, I've always loved it quite a bit. But you could say that this is kind of like, it's proto-thrashy, and you can make a case for that. So I put it on honorable mention.
Hey, Alan, would you check that and see if Shred CD is in with your case there? Never mind.
Let's
He found his case, but there's no CD in it. Here,
there's a
evidence.
Metallica guitar pick in my case.
Oh, there you go.
There was something floating around in there.
That pick's
Nice
mine.
logo.
And let's see. I have a funny story about that pick, but I won't take up time with it right now. And this one, honorable mention, this is number 11 on my list. So the true honorable mention, it wouldn't quite fit into the top 10. It is Exodus with Fabulous Disaster. This is one that was very well known to me and my buddies in high school. Again, one guy got this and copied it for everybody, and so we all enjoyed it. It's goofy, it's fun. I always kind of go back to it from time to time and still enjoy it, but it just didn't quite make it into my top 10 here. Maybe some days it would. It's close. It gets the official number 11 slot, so it's kind of the first one out tonight. Those are my 5 honorable mentions. Marty, what are yours?
All right. Well, it breaks my heart that this isn't in the top 10, but yeah, Forbidden Evil by Forbidden. This album is damn near perfect. It's very aggressive, and like Lee mentioned earlier, Russ's voice was absolutely killer. He was an amazing singer, almost a power metal vocalist thrown over the top of such aggressive, technically very proficient musicianship. Technical, but not without hooks and really powerful melody lines and all sorts of excellent transitions throughout this album. It's aggressive. It's kind of unique for what's going on in the Bay Area at the time. So, yeah, this is a definite favorite album. Pleasures of the Flesh by Exodus. This almost replaced the other Exodus that is in my top 10 because I love Bonded by Blood, but for some reason when this thing came out, I listened to it a lot more. I don't know what it was. It's got the lowrider. Is this one with the lowrider on it?
No, that's
the other one.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Zetro's voice, and songs like Brain Dead and Seeds of Hate. Great album. Sharp riffing, of course. Gary is a riff merchant. Really sharp guitar playing. Good sound. And these two are later in my exploration, but Epidemic's Decameron album, this thing rules. It's like, it's core, it's thrash metal, but you're starting to get some proto-deathisms kind of seeping into the songs and the singing, and very heavy, well-produced, excellent album. And I've totally missed out on this band until recently-ish. Too Cool to Pray by Sacrilege BC. I think Party with God is a better album. I don't have a copy of it yet, but this is definitely thrash. It feels like Bay Area. Damn it. And but there's a definite crossover. There's a hardcore vibe to this stuff as well. It's fun, good stuff. And it's almost embarrassing that hold on one second. I'm going to hack my brains out. I don't know what's going on. It's embarrassing to show this because in its heart, it's not a great record, but Mordred Fool's Game. This thing, when this thing came out, it's on Noise Records, so that right there, I'm adhered to it because it's on Noise. I'm going to spin it a million times until I get it. These guys didn't sound Bay Area at all. They sounded like something totally off the mark. The thing that brings this down is the Every Day's a Holiday and the Super Freak, the funk shit. Funk was starting to seep into thrash metal. Bands, not that they're a thrash band, but bands like Faith No More, and it's like all these Sacred Reich started messing with it a little bit. It was like all of a sudden these guys were listening to Chili Peppers or some shit, and it was starting to infect. And I hated that crap. But songs on here like The Artist and Shatter, the singer had a unique singing voice. And again, it's a really clean, pristine production. There's some cool thrash songs on here. Again, it's a little embarrassing to say, oh, I like Mordrin, but I spun the shit out of this record when I got it because it was on Noise. And that was probably the one CD I bought that month. So, even if you didn't like something, you spun the hell out of it until you changed your mind on it. But yeah, so that's my small pile of honorable mentions. But yeah, let's get into our top 10, starting with number 10. Trevor, we'll start with you.
All right, I'm a poser. I'm wearing the shirt of my number 10. I have some signatures of my number 10. I couldn't find the album physical to save my life, so I only have 2 like that.
You better get things figured out. You better get things figured out over there. You got shit that's not even in the case. I mean, what kind of a collector are you? Damn abortion going on over there.
I'm one of these type of collectors. I'm a collector, married, kids. Oh, no collecting. Okay, what collect? No collect.
Hey, Ed Noisem 1. Thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Either way, we're going Testament, Brotherhood of the Snake. I put there you go, right there. I love this album. My favorite song is Neptune's Spear. This is not obviously. Thank you, Alan. This is obviously not one of their newer albums. This is what, 2010 or 16? I can't remember. Oh, 2016 on this one. Great tracks from top to bottom. Good thrash album. I actually have something to sort of accompany this, if you could maybe throw me on solo. Good friend of mine, Brian Newman, Macabre, Bo. I've got everybody's autograph here with the South Park style pics. If you can, cool. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he sent this to me a year ago. Bo Macabre in the chats. You guys all know him. Or I know him as Newman, Brian Newman. He's a good dude. So you got everybody. You got Alex, Chuck, Eric, Steve, and Paul all there. So he just sent this to me to be cool. I went and bought a frame, and there you go. So again, this is a great album, though. Not to get too sidetracked off of that. I love Brotherhood of the Snake. Every track is good. Again, Neptune's Spear, though, being my absolute favorite track on that entire album. And I mean, I like all the Testaments. There's, a give or take an album or 2 here and there, but this is my favorite. Right now, like you said earlier.
All right. Lee, what's your number 10?
It's always good that I can actually be on the show or on the couch and I can still want to yell at Alan for his fabulous disaster snub.
It's number 11. It's still good.
It's just because you did that, I'm fighting back. All right. And if anyone else enjoys a good potato salad, if you know where that reference is from. Alan, do you know where that's from? Like, that speech at the beginning of Deranged? Because I've never, ever looked it up. And it's got that crazy guy who sounds like Mel Gibson. Yeah. And he's talking, and he's all over the shop. And I've never known what that's from, if that was something that was just put on.
I don't know if it's from anything. Maybe someone in the chat knows.
Oh, I'm with Marty on this one, but I'm going to, just like I said, try to fight back for my Exodus friends. This album, not my favorite Exodus album, but this was where I believe, this is where all the chugging came in for Exodus. Like Brain Dead, fantastic song, Till Death Do Us Part. These were like your mid-tempo stuff, but all of them like super catchy. They were sing-along. Always a Zetro. Oh, look, we got everyone, you ready to hate me? I prefer Zetro over Paul. Okay.
I can't disagree with that. I don't mind Paul, but Zetro is a little bit better in the same vein,
Yeah, and Paul sounds like a way more fun time to hang out with.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna have a band, I'm gonna pick Zetro. Zetro's vocal was like a razor. Everything was pronounced like he was spitting it, and it was that first. That's where I think where I've got a lot of influence from guys like him, because it's like every word you could hear it and he meant it, all the way up to when he was doing the stuff with Hatriot. It was just like vicious vocals. And I don't think anyone in the thrash genre that I can think of right now, someone's going to correct me, that could deliver a line like Zetro, even on their worst songs. Even Lowrider, he sounds mean, And when you meet him, he's like this, very fun guy, but he's just best vocalist for this band. And this album was that. This was my first Exodus album, and then I went back and was so shocked that this guy wasn't a part of it. But Pleasure of the Flesh all day long. The only regret I've got is that this cover is horrible. Horrible. The original cover that they had for it, which I've seen once or twice.
There's a picture
amazing.
disc out with that cover, actually.
Yeah. But great album, shocking cover. And if Aaron Theologian is in the chat, you never put your band on the freaking cover, ever. Ever.
Yep. And Bob Kelly, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a good Friday. All right, good one. Miss A.
So I guess I messed up because the Frolic was my number 10.
Oh, right on. Oh, that's all good.
There you go. Frolic.
Frolic, guys.
Yay.
Remember that
If
band?
you guys,
Everybody here a
checked them out-
Frolic?
if you guys haven't checked them out, I would suggest that album. The Fusion of Spirits, I think, is better than the newer one. But check out Prague Sun first as like a good introduction. The song Prague Sun, if you haven't heard of them. That's it. See, I'm fast.
There, right on. Alan.
Let's see. All right, all I'm going to say here leading into top 10. Remember, everybody, these are each of our favorite top 10s. They're not going to be your favorite top 10s. It's fine to disagree, but you can't say we're wrong because they're our personal favorites. If you don't like them, post your own top 10 over there in the chat, and we'll make fun of your picks. It's all good. We're not trying to claim these are somehow like, quantitatively the best or the most influential or anything. They're just the 10 that each of us like the most. And I will we'll just keep on frolicking in number 10. We'll frolic our way right into the park.
Oh, we're going to frolic all night. Oh, shit. All right, yeah.
It's a frolicky kind of Friday. But yeah, I picked Death Angel's sophomore album, Frolic Through the Park, for number 10. I know this one is not as popular as Ultraviolence with most folks. I get it. This album is a little goofier. That's what I like about it, though. There's nothing wrong with Ultraviolence. It's, very fast, classic, thrash thing. I hear the drummer was only 15 years old when they recorded it. Can you imagine? My goodness. But this one has a lot more variety to it, which I've appreciated and I go back to a lot more over the years. Ultraviolence does one thing really well. This one does a lot of different things very fun. But for me, this is also the last Death Angel album I really get into of the ones I've heard. I haven't heard every single album they've put out, especially in more recent years. But yeah, this one just kind of, for me, strikes the right balance of being, it's thrash, but it's just a little quirky. It's quite fun, and the songs all kind of have their own personality. So it's always been an album that it didn't wear out its welcome or didn't feel like a one-trick pony. So even though I know it's a little bit of the dark horse among their catalog, I've always enjoyed it quite a bit. Frolic Through the Park was not my introduction to Death Angel. That was Ultraviolence. But this one has just gotten more plays if you look at kind of the long picture. And that is something that factored in for me when figuring out how to rank things tonight. For most of these albums, that kind of, what's had the longevity, what still gets played versus which ones maybe don't get played as much. So that's why Death Angel is number 10, Frolic Through the Park. Marty, what you got at number 10?
I will say that Frolic Through the Park, when that thing dropped, I worshipped it. I spun the shit out of that record. Loved it. And they're another one of those bands that got infected by the funk thing, especially on Act 3, but I like that record as well. But
Act 3 is a good sounding album, but I just can't get into that funky side.
All right. Well, my number 10, they made it on the list. Breaking the Silence by Heathen.
Oh, nice.
Victims of Deception might be a little bit better, a little more aggressive album, but this was my first, so this is the one I wore the tape out. They had more of a bit more of an Iron Maiden touch in their riffs. Their riffs were a little bit more rolling and riffy, more melodic. There's some more melodic stuff, but another band that did not sound like the Bay Area to me that much. They had kind of a unique sound about them, but shit, Goblin's Blade, what a song. Death by Hanging, killer opening track. Even though it's notated right on the damn jacket, I did not know Set Me Free was a cover. But yeah, it was a cover. That was the one they released a video for the album. I think that was maybe the lead-off single for this one. But Breaking the Silence, Save the Skull, excellent thrash metal record. It was a band that had their own personality, their own unique sound. And we're still in an era, even though the Bay Area is a very close-knit group of musicians, this was during the time where a lot of bands still had their own personality. There weren't a lot of bands that ended up sounding like the same thing over and over and over and over. You know, you get into that when you start getting into like Sweden, a lot of the death metal bands, the melodeath stuff. A lot of the bands are kind of coloring with the same crayon box. But yeah, it's kind of cool to hear different hard rock isms and earlier metal influencing, you know, these thrash bands, because they're older at this point. That's where they came from, hard rock. I mean, this is pretty early, so hard rock was influencing what thrash metal became. So, yep, number 10 for me, Breaking the Silence by Heathen.
Yep, I wanted to say thanks to Times of Grace. He's got the answer to Trevor's question on the screen. So there is a story behind that intro to Deranged. So yeah, for anybody who's listening but not watching, it's done by Tom Skid, who was guess a character known as like, you know, a homeless guy that was hanging around in the area, and they got him in there and got him to record it. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Thank you for the information. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
tell you what, our chat
speaking voice.
Our chat always has our back, don't they? Yeah. Don't they, Alan?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. If we don't know, somebody out there's going to.
Unless
it has to deal with purple Smurfs, and I'm the only one who knows it.
Whoa.
Yeah,
we won't
you
go
could,
down that.
Oh no, that's a flashback that.
We won't go down that Smurf hole tonight. I promise.
All right, I'm going to pull Trevor up for his number 9, and I'm going to step out for one quick second. You got the helm? Cool. Go ahead, Trevor. Sorry.
Good. No, it's all good. My number 9. Some of you are going to hate this, and that's why I picked it, because I loved this album. Old Bobby Rocker, okay? Right? A lot of people would say this is the shittiest Metallica besides any of the stuff after 2000. What are we talking about? Give me fuel, give me fire. No, I love this album. It was heavy. My dad gave me a Pioneer house stereo with a receiver, and I rigged a Discman up to it and had these tower speakers. And I put this on, and I went, okay. All the riffs and the heaviness of the bass you might hate. You might hate Lars. A lot of people do. I love this album. Frayed Ends of Sanity. Oh, I mean, it gets me going every time. And then when that riff. Just talking about it, I could feel the goosebumps raise on my arm. So, possibly controversial. I don't know how many of you like this album or not. I love this album. It hit me at a really good time in my life. I was like a little skateboarder, fucking goth rat kid hanging out at Fraggle Rock in Nevada City, and I felt like the coolest kid on the block. I had a basement with like 6-foot high ceilings with a slab on the bottom. We would play this upstairs so loud it felt like the floor joists were going to explode above our heads. And we could skate, and sometimes we'd crack our heads on the joist above and listen to this album. And it was awesome. Huge impact on me. And this one does have the CD in it.
Hey.
You did it.
I love that album. I'll start actually pulling the actual vinyls out on the other ones too. So it's not like a piece of paper that I printed.
Yeah.
Trevor, I gotta ask, just out of curiosity, have you ever heard the bootleg versions, like the Justice for Jason, where people have added the bass track back in? And if so, what do you think of it?
You know, I'll be really honest, I haven't. So if someone knows me, please send that to me. I'd be so curious to listen to that. I really would be, Alan. But no, I haven't. I'm surprised. That. Yeah, thank you.
I think we can work that out, yeah.
You know again.
All right. Lee, you're number 9.
Metallica was a fun band, especially that album, because you could listen to it, get like to the third song, and then you'd put it on the next day, and you could go to it. It would be like a different album again, or something you haven't heard, because the album was so fucking long.
Yeah.
But let's stick with Metallica because Metallica was a band that did this. I don't remember many bands doing this in the day, and this is what I loved about them. Always loved about them. So I had the Kill 'Em All, I had Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and then, oh, I should have pulled it, but I grabbed this one instead. But then they threw out this type of stuff, which used to just blow my mind, and it was both of them right here. Oh, fat fingers. All right. So you got stuff like the old 598. Or
I love that
what was
thing.
it? Yeah, 598. So this thing was like, this isn't an album. What is this? It's not a single. There's no Metallica song, but I didn't know that. I had no idea. I thought all these songs were Metallica songs, right? Because I'm a stupid kid and I'm just throwing it on and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. But then there was like, I got this magazine one day and I'm like looking at all the Metallica releases that are probably all fan made, but there was like shit like this, man. It was like Metal Up Your Ass, the bootleg, you know, the, what is it? The one with Dave Mustaine in it, isn't it? He's playing.
Yeah, the No Life Till Leather's got Mustaine on it.
Yep.
Well, what's this one got on it then? Because it's only got the three of them on the back. No,
They probably didn't want to put him in the picture.
probably not. But
Because isn't that basically a bootleg of No Life Till Leather?
let's just say it is and pretend I said it. But they would do cool things. Like I made this myself because I couldn't find the thing. So someone on YouTube had it already sorted out and already had the cover done. So this was like all the early stuff. So it's like the whiskey tapes, Ron McGavin's 82 demo, like all this stuff, power metal, everything was cool. And it was one of those things where they weren't hard to find, but everyone kind of had a boot of this. So I made my own boot. But Metallica were that band that were doing things outside of just releasing albums, right? So it was like, oh shit, I haven't got that, you know, and that's what made them exciting. And they're still kind of doing it to this day, but they're just not doing it like this. You know what I mean? They record everything and you can buy it off their website on digital or whatever. But Exodus weren't doing it. Testament weren't doing it, but Metallica were. And I think that's what really made them beholden to the fans. And probably why there was such a animosity between Metallica and Megadeth fans. I have no idea, but I just think, look, if I'm pulling out an album for this one, I don't care which one you pick, but Metallica bootlegs or Metallica weird EPs all day long. So one of these, just pick one, and this is the one I pick.
All right.
At least it wasn't Lulu.
And the vinyls are in there. Oh, fuck. Dude, and also too, Injustice for All shouldn't be heard with the bass. It was never recorded with the bass. So let's just get rid of that garbage to start with. All right, Alan? Don't be giving me bass on an album that's got no bass. Or Frolic in the Park. Don't give me that either.
His bass work, though, he mirrored the guitars. So, I mean, he was, anyway. It's not like he was playing separate individual bass lines.
Right.
Was that the last album where anyone thought that Lars Ulrich was a great drummer?
I laughed out loud.
Well,
I still think he is a great. I think he is a great drummer. I mean, hell,
He's a better drummer than me.
He's Metallica's drummer. You know what I
He
mean?
is, but you can't fire him at this point.
Always a
Good. All right, Miss A, you're number 9.
okay. I picked. Can you see it?
Yep.
Phantom Witch.
That band rules.
Can you see Phantom Witch?
Yep.
Okay. And this album is Death as We Know It. They came out in, I want to say like maybe 2012 or 2013. I can't remember. But they're like really influenced by Slayer and Exodus and Testament. So they kind of have that sound that goes with them. That album, though, is my favorite album by them. And the title track, Death as We Know It, is awesome. If you guys have not heard them, that would be a great song to start with. But also, Will Carroll from Death Angel, he sits in with them on live sets sometimes. So it's like a nice little kind of blending of stuff. So if you haven't heard of them, check them out. I'm going to be really fast with mine. So, but yeah, they're not like, none of these are really legacy acts, but they're all influenced by legacy acts. So,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
give Phantom Witch a try if you've never heard of them, because they're fucking awesome.
All right. Never heard of them.
Check them out.
Ellen.
Very, very cool. All right, number 9 for me. Some people have this higher. There's a reason I've got it at 9. It is Bonded by Blood from Exodus. The reason this one isn't higher is I was a little late to this album, just again based on age. In 85, my generation, we weren't into metal yet. We were still into G.I. Joe and stuff like that. So when we were getting into metal, things like Fabulous Disaster and Impact is Imminent, those were the Exodus albums that were out. So those were the ones we heard. I didn't get a copy of Bonded by Blood until maybe late 92 or early 93. And at that point, metal was changing a lot. There's a lot of new styles to explore. I was a little burnt out on thrash because it was like, oh, these other bands are heavier or more extreme, or looking for older retro stuff. I kind of had my fill of thrash, so I didn't immediately have Bonded by Blood sink into my DNA just because I was a couple of years late to it. But it's held up really well over the years. It's the Exodus album I reach for most in recent years in particular, which is why it ended up a little higher than Fabulous Disaster, which was at my number 11 from earlier. So yeah, some folks will have this higher, understand it perfectly. If you were the right age and this was one of your key albums growing up, that makes perfect sense. I'm just not quite old enough to fall in that camp, and it just came a little bit late to me. It is a solid album. I like it. I think I would go with probably Bailoff's vocals over Zetro's overall, since that's come up a few times. Folks have mentioned in the chat it would have been interesting to hear, what Bailoff would have done if he was on the second Exodus album, for example. It's also interesting to think what would have happened had this come out like 12 to 18 months earlier, because of course Exodus was one of the very first bands in this style on the Bay Area scene, but they got bypassed by some other bands early in thrash who got their albums out first. I mean, by the time this was out, Metallica already had 2 albums on the shelf, so they kind of became the vanguard of the whole thing. And to a lot of people who weren't in the know, Exodus seemed like, oh, they're doing the same thing Metallica's doing. It's like, well, Exodus was doing it first. It just took them longer to work out the record deal for reasons. But Bonded by Blood, probably going to be on many people's lists. If it's higher, that's cool. But I've got it at number 9 tonight.
Yeah, I'm cheating off the professor's paper here. And Bonded by Blood, my number 9. And this thing here is, I don't know, man. It is. They're the band that they were the first. And they ended up getting their shit out late. So I think that kind of knocked them down a block or two, but still, this is a highly revered album. And I haven't listened to this album in a million years, and my kid has suddenly somehow, through the beautiful thing of the streaming algorithm, is picked up on Exodus. He's been putting this on and spinning it. So it's cool to hear the songs again, actually sing along with them. I have not hearing them 1,000 years. I still know the song. They're ingrained, and it's great. Is Paul the most dynamic, awesome singer? Maybe not, but his personality really comes through his performance and his live performance. Yeah, very charismatic singer. And, the whole lore behind, killing posers and the hunting the posers down and kicking their ass thing, that's a part of this as well. So, it's cool. Our friend Dennis over at Analog Archives, he grew up in this era, probably partied with Paul at one point or another. And just to, hear tales of the old school coming through his channel, go check out Analog Archives. It's cool. It's cool. And great songs. They stand the test of time. I found myself during the era really latching on to Pleasures of the Flesh, like I mentioned. Brighter production. Zetro is just a better singer, yet still in the same vein. I don't know. It had to be number 9. And that's where I'll leave that. So we're going to be moving on to number 8, and we're going to start with Lee.
I don't know. Was this band I just wanted to show a Halloween thing before Marty did.
I was trying to figure out how to get them into this. Thank you, Lee, for doing that.
Yeah, I did it for you. I've always got your back, Marty.
My number 1 Bay Area thrash album is Halloween Walls of Jericho. Just saying.
Talking to people who couldn't sing. All right.
Right on.
Megadeth. Love Megadeth. For a big chunk of my youth, I was actually on Team Megadeth. I thought that I always loved his vocal. I thought he was another vicious singer. Not many thrash bands, they can dominate rage, they can dominate violence, they can make it all sound like that. But to sound like hateful, that was Dave Mustaine, and that was coming from because Dave was a miserable prick, and he did it with such, grace. Like, no, not grace. He was not graceful, but he did it with such ease. And this is the album where heroin took over the hate. And so far, so good. So what, man? I played this thing in my little beat-up Walkman on the bus home, and I could get through the whole thing, and I would sing it. And no one else could hear the music, but they could hear me yelling my ass off to set the world afire. Fucking Mary Jane. I didn't know what the words were, but I sung them anyway, and I destroyed so many versions of this. And this was like, again, it's a nostalgia pick, but dude, to this day, there's not a bad song on this. And the vocal phrasing, it's almost like there's catchy songs on here. And I was actually shocked to hear that now this is considered a shitty album. I don't know where that came from because, when this came out, man, this was weird. There was back patches all over the place. There was a T-shirt. It was the thing, and Megadeth, this album should not be put in the trash because it's, Dave's heroin album. I think heroin made this album the fucking ball terror that it is. So vote one heroin, and so far so good, so what?
I hate to say this, Lee, but they're Southern California.
I'm just going with them. Don't yuck my yum. All right.
I agree. Great
Mention.
Don't care. You watch me bring out Slayer next. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Next is Overkill on Lee's list. Taking over by.
I really thought he was joking about the Halloween pick.
Yeah.
I almost wore my Halloween shirt tonight.
Well, hang on a second. But being from not this country, how far is Southern California from? Oh, it's a long way, isn't it? I've driven from LA to San
500
Fran.
miles, 450 miles.
Well, what's the? Just pretend for me because my
yes.
geography's shitty here.
They had some breakthrough concerts in the Bay Area.
There we go.
For winning. Sure. But they're Southern California.
Technically, yeah.
It's like, there goes my other Megadeth.
Even earlier, look, I was gonna pull him as I have this double, and I'm like, maybe honorable mention. I'm like, there's no way I'm pulling that over on these fucking guys.
Yes.
As a Californian, I have to know.
Okay, Simon. That's you're following up. You're backing up your fellow countrymen here, but we'll let him slide. We'll let him slide.
Aaron, 400 from SF to LA. See, I said 450, 5. Okay, I was off by 50 to 100 miles. No big deal. Maybe I'd go a different way, Aaron.
All right, Miss A. Number 8.
So this one probably people will know, definitely. This is Patriot. All right, so everybody knows.
Zetro Sons Band.
Yeah, so he did start the band, obviously.
Yeah. That's right, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget when, 2012 maybe, or 2013. But then his two kids took over, Cody and Nick. And I think Cody's doing the vocals and the bass, and then Nick does the drums. But this is my favorite album, Heroes of Origin. I think they did another album. 4 albums, I think, in total. I think the last one was like in 2022, but that album, Heroes of Origin, is definitely my favorite, and Weapons of Class Destruction is just awesome. It's my favorite song on that album. So yeah, Patriot, you probably know it, but if you don't, go listen to it. That's
all right. Trevor.
All right. Now, this is going to be another controversial one, which I kind of love. All right, because I like that I've already heard people go, ooh, I don't know. You're going to get some funky thrash here. Now, I don't like every song on this album at all either, okay? This is the most produced Death Angel album, Act 3, okay? This was the only one out on Geffen Records. Oh, maybe I should hold it so you can see it, right? So, super highly produced, but I liked this. This is, again, middle of the road. This is 1990, so I came to a lot of Death Angel late. Okay, I would have been 10 when this came out. But yeah, I know, beat me over the head. Okay, but right there, the Filipino Thrashers from Daly City. Well, at this point, I think it was down to one of them. of the original guys, possibly by then. But Act 3, what's my favorite song? I tried to write it down because that's how fucked up this album is. Ecstasy. That's my favorite song on here. Ecstasy. And I wanted to do Marty right and actually have something that I could pull out of my collection. And honestly, I don't have a ton of Death Angel that I could just pull. I have digitals, but this is the one I own.
The vinyl of this is sitting on the hood of his car right now, just so everybody...
No. Yeah. It's in the truck. No, it's actually in there. There it is. But no. As soon as I heard him go, Marty's like, yeah, Act 3. I don't know. I'm like, oh, shit, that's sitting in my pocket.
I love that record too. No, I don't like the funk shit on it, but it's a good
thrashy.
record.
The funky stuff sucks. I do not like it. Like, even earlier, I'm like, should I swap it out? I'm like, nah. It's in there. Just grow a set, put it out, and then like Alan had said, and you guys have reiterated, this is just a personal list for the show. I'm listening to this stuff now. This is what I'm enjoying currently.
Right on.
No, if it's your top favorite, absolutely go with it.
It's at least number 8 right now.
All right.
You're gonna get a little repeater here soon. I promise you that.
All right, Alan.
All right, number 8 for me. We've talked about this band, just a different album. Testament, Practice What You Preach. I understand people like other albums more. I kind of got this and Souls at Black about the same time. This is one of those cases where me and my cousin were like, you buy that tape and I'll buy this tape, and then we can hear both of them. Wow, we've like broken Walmart here, gaming the system a little bit. And then playing them, in the back of the bus, back and forth every day. Souls at Black was the tape I bought. He bought this one. Turns out he got the better deal. I like both albums, but Practice What You Preach is the stronger overall album. Both are in the same style, but Souls at Black was written kind of fast, and it shows. There's a few tracks that aren't as stellar. This one, though, is really good and has held the test of time really nicely. This is one I can still go back to. I know the songs well. It's still a fun listen. Yes, I understand there are other Testament albums that we'll probably talk about later this evening that will rank higher for many folks, and that's fine. But I have no problem with this era of Testament. A lot of people seem a little down on Testament after the New Order, but I don't really get that. I think Testament was actually one of, even up to this day, the most consistent thrash bands from the Bay Area. They have a couple of weird moments in the 90s, but A, who didn't? And B, their weird moments are not nearly as weird as some other bands. So Testament didn't vary and stray from the script nearly as much as, say, pick any German band that did thrash. Those guys got way out in the weeds in the 90s. Testament just kind of dabbled with a few different things, but there was always a strong thrash component to every album, even the stranger ones. But Practice What You Preach, very solid, holds up great. It is my number 8.
All right. Well, this is an album I'm very excited to talk about because, when it comes to Bay Area thrash metal, the first band I think of is Corner with R.I.P. Right, Lee?
Bro, I almost fell out of my knees.
You wait for my next one. You wait.
They're from the East Bay side of things.
Extra east.
Far east.
I kid.
You got to cross a couple of land bridges. But
well, I thought it was anything goes on this one, so I figured I'd pull my favorite Bay Area thrash album. So
Sacramento thrash bands. Oh.
There can be two things.
Well, my number 8, Death Angel had to be in there, and the Ultraviolence was the first one I heard from this band. And obviously their most aggressive album, but still, for their age, very mature. The riffs on this are unique, savage. There's a little bit of a speed metal kiss to these riffs and songs. Mark's voice is just great. He's melodious, yet his screams are just scathing. Don't get Alan started about the drummer. We won't cross that bridge either. But
there's nothing wrong with him. He's only 15 years old. You can't pick on him. He's a minor.
But
he's only doing it for legal reasons. He's like, as soon as he turns 18, I'm going all in on that kid.
That's why I can bitch about Act 3. By then, he had a driver's license. I can say that album sucks.
I love the two albums that came after this, even with the funk infusion. But this here, there was no funk on this. It's just really great. Bury a thrash. It rips for, I think people, the whole age thing, yeah, that became a marketing thing. But on the same token, I think most people gravitated towards the whole age thing because there's some young guys in this band writing very good, sharp song and albums worth of material that can hang with the much older bands in the scene and playing shows at Ruthie's Inn with these older guys they're mixing it up and they're making their presence known, even though they're 13 when he recorded this,
Yeah, the 15-year-olds were really showing up the 17-year-olds in Ritual and those other bands.
Yes.
Take that, Grandpa. Hey, wait, aren't we in the same study hall?
So, yep, that was my number 8, and we're going on to number 7, and we're going to start with Shred.
Oh, okay. Poser move again on this one. Can you please put up my thumbnail there, Marty, when you can? We're going with Laz Rocket. I love this band. Know Your Enemy. This band had the best covers. I mean, if you're into this type of... Okay, talk about being into G.I. Joes. Going from G.I. Joes and then growing up and being like, wait a minute, there's a band that has like ultra glorified G.I. Joe shit going on the covers all the time, and there's... Some of them are patriotic, some of them are just... I mean, look, you got a... What is that? An Apache helicopter. This guy looks, very remarkably like Rambo.
Arnold. He looks like Arnold.
Okay, much better. Yeah, the chin is full Arnold here, yes, and he's got many rockets in his holster of his shoulder.
He's rocking that mullet, too.
Yeah.
This is what I actually had. I probably have it somewhere, maybe down in my storage. I was bummed when I couldn't find it. My favorite song on this is Last Breath. Bunch of driving, charging tracks. I mean, if you don't know Laz Rocket, you probably do if you're a Bay Area Thrash fan, but they never disappoint. I can't think of a track on this album that I don't like, and that goes with a lot of the Laz Rocket catalog, I should say. So, yeah, Laz Rocket. That's my number 7.
All right.
Laz Rocket gets some love. They often get a little bit dissed among those bands.
They do. That's why I had to throw them in there. I came to them late too. Again, I'm only 46, so a lot of these bands I was just a little kid. So I heard about them later, teen years. Some of them even in my 20s, and had to go backwards. You know what I mean? I lived in Oakland for 10 years and didn't realize that I was a stone's throw away from going to places like Ruthie's and, you know what I mean, stuff like that. While I lived there, I was just in work mode and like trying to survive, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you mean there's these cool clubs? I mean, not that was available at the time, but yeah. Lee got all pissed at me one time. He's like, you don't go to Ruthless? I'm like, dude, it's a closed down, like, shitty, abandoned building with, like, 30 homeless people doing fentanyl out front right now. I just want to live through the day. Anyways, but when you guys come see me, we're definitely going. But yeah, Laz Rocket, they rule.
Very cool. Yep. And continuing, like, yeah, they kind of another connection for the kids stuff besides the G.I. Joe graphics. They actually had pro wrestler Sting in one of their music videos.
Yes,
that's right.
Like playing the Arnold soldier dude.
Yeah, totally. Dude, good man, good call. I had forgotten about that, man.
All right, Lee.
Laz Rocket didn't have a very thrash name. You'd swear it was an LA band, right? Like a glam band. I mean.
Yeah.
They didn't have a great name.
They started off not very thrash. They were more of a...
They were more of a trad band.
Yeah.
What about... another thing, I'm going to embarrass myself. Evil Dead. Do you remember them? Were they... Because I always thought those two bands were so interchangeable.
I think they were Southern California as well.
Were they?
Yeah.
Put away that.
You're like the Dora the Explorer of thrash metal. Where are you going next, Dora?
I just had that thought. There was two thoughts. Laz Rocket.
Talk about Agent Steel. Just kidding.
We'll call you Dora Hammer 619 because that's the area code for San Diego.
Oh my god, dude.
My dream was to come on this show and be laughed at. Has anyone else had that dream? I'm a sadist.
Oh, busting balls is part of it, my brother.
Briefly. But weren't they on the...
Oh, dude.
Weren't they on the Texas Chainsaw 3 soundtrack? That was the first time I actually heard them. They had that one good song on there, I think. But actually, you know, getting back to your funk metal, I never wanted to punch Phil Rind in the face so much. I would still do it to this day because he put that stupid song on such a great album.
31 flavors.
Oh, 31.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we're not just metal dudes. Yeah, you fucking are, because that's all you fucking wrote for 3 albums. So you're a metal guy. Now you're like a funk guy because Faith No More puts out the real thing.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Anyway, so moving on to my real pick.
Passionate.
Because-
He's a passionate man.
Oh, dude, I just anyone who pulls that shit where it's like, oh, we're so many things. Like, no, you're not. I don't like the other things that you are.
This is how he is in real life, by the way, guys. Just so you know, this is our exact conversations. Marty can attest to that, I'm sure.
And when I get excited, my tail wags. Look. So because Alan picked my Practice What You Preach, which I thought was a direct response to Injustice for All. Don't check the dates in case this came out before it. But this was one of those albums where like it was like a lot of shit going on. It sounded more tech, and then you had Black Album came out. But I think this came out before the Black Album. But you know the cool thing about Testament, and I love this album. I thought this was a way more accessible album. But Louis, the drummer, was it Louis Peterson? Was he the drummer?
Yeah.
He
Oh,
had this,
Louis Clemente.
okay, Louis Clemente. I'm giving the Peterson guy still in it, right? He's the guitar player. But the drumming that he had, he gave Testament that style. I don't know what it was. It was like a rolling Marty. Oh, Alan. Oh fuck, Aaron, one of yous, that guy. Anyway, so but he did this really cool thing, and he did it on all their albums, which was like a and that became that Testament sound. And I don't know, it disappeared after he left, and I don't know if anyone can remember that, but this Souls of Black is full of those moments where they had these great riffs, great vocal phrasing. I think every song on this, except for The Legacy, believe it or not, is like one of those songs that could be easily a single. It's just, I remember most of Face in the Sky, fuck it, that one about, is it 7 Days of May?
7 Days of May.
Yeah, the one about the place in China that everyone forgot about. Tiananmen Square, right? So, like, this is such a cool album, and on a day where I'm just looking to kind of rock out and not think about anything, this album, Testament's over any one of them, just because I don't want to think while I'm, listening to it. This is by far the more superior album. I don't know where it ever came into. Yeah, One Man's Fate. That's another great song. But I don't know why suddenly in 2026, albums that were considered great when they came out are suddenly not good. Like, it's such a weird thing to be, and you go, oh, fuck, that album was always great. But up until, let me just pull it out, and I'm going to give you a quick little, this is getting a little bit dicey. Now we're starting to play with fire, right? But up until Souls of Black, man, Testament didn't really put a foot wrong. Even this is kind of like the Souls of Black Part 2, but, they were. I don't think they didn't put out. What was that stupid Exodus album that came out that was so bad? It was right after. Dude. Yeah, I mean, Testament at least did the death thing. They didn't go into this whatever the shit that album was. You know what I mean? So, dude, 100% Testament, Souls of Black. I love that album just as much as I love Practice What You Preach. And they are from fucking Bay Area.
They are.
Die on them. There you go. I say that with confidence.
You sure?
No, not anymore.
No matter who the drummer or who said that, most of them reside from the Bay Area, one way or another. No, you're good. I heard they all live in LA now, though. Just kidding. Probably Beverly fucking Hilton. They're just kidding. They don't. A lot of them live in the fucking foothills and shit.
Thank you, Dora the Explorer. Okay, Miss A.
I wrote Dora Hammer down, right? I wrote Dora Hammers just so I can remember that. God, sorry, Miss A. I apologize.
Swiper, no swiping. Swiper, no swiping. Okay. So mine is don't know if you can see it. It is Fog of War. Fog of War. So they're like, they came out in 2009. They're like a power thrash crossover band. They have 3 albums, but they're like really far apart. Like the one's from 2009, one's from I think like 2015-ish, and then there's like a newer one that's like this year, like 2026. But this is their first one, like their title one right here. And this is actually it's almost like kind of punky. I'm not a big fan of punk, but it's actually really good. So if you guys haven't heard of them yet in the chat, or any of you guys, listen to Kills on Contact first, because that's the best song on the album. And then listen to the rest of the album, and then listen to the newer stuff. But this like initial album, just the year that it was released, it's so raw and like crusty and crunchy, and it's really good. So check it out. That's it.
All right. Alan.
All right, let's see. Number 7 for me is this one, Forbidden's Twisted into Form. And for me, this is my Forbidden album. I know a lot of people prefer the debut, and that's fine. The debut is, again, just another one that came out a little before I was digging into thrash a lot. So this was the album that started making the rounds when I and my classmates were paying attention. And it holds up well. Yeah, Russ, really great vocal performance on this. Cool songs. And like you were saying earlier, Marty, it has a really distinctive sound to it. There's not another album we're going to talk about tonight that really sounds like Twisted into Form. So it's always held up well. Has a cool sound. Yeah, again, not going to belabor the point. All these are albums that folks know really well. But this one always ranks higher than the debut for me. The debut is just another one of those albums that, like I said, got to a little too late for it to really become part of my DNA. But this one was just the right place and the right time. And I think Marty fit really well on the album cover there for the thumbnail tonight. I don't
fit anywhere well, trust me. Especially my clothes these days. I just messaged my kid, bring me down 3 cookies, please. So I've replaced White Claw with just getting fatter while I sit here. So
see, is
you gotta live.
It's not for me.
YOLO that shit, Marty. Yeah, boy.
Bring me. Yeah. But yeah, Twisted into Form is my number 7. Great album. Has held up great.
All right. Excellent. And for me, which I guess I didn't realize that this wouldn't classify, but I'm putting it on anyway, and that's Ulysses Siren, Above the Ashes. No, I'm late to this, but man, once I heard it, it was an instant, sadly missed classic for me. This band could fit within the realm of early sadists. They're just savage, great riffs. It's that mix of thrash and speed metal. You got a singer that just is, he's got a little melodious nature to his voice, but there's screaming in there. And yeah, this was an eye-opening discovery. And I've told the story on here before. I combed the internet looking for a copy of this on vinyl, couldn't afford it. I finally found a copy I paid $25 or $30 for, and it was one of those Amazon CDRs, considered an official release, but I got it. Was like, this cover was like just like a portion of the cover, and it was all this blue and black on it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Well, I bought this again for $30, so I've spent $60 on this album finally to get a real copy of it. But this album rips. If you've never heard Ulysses Siren, check out Above the Ashes. It is an overlooked banger from the whole Bay Area. I mean, they weren't right in Bay Area. I think they were just outside, but they're considered still part of the Bay Area. So yeah, man, what a absolutely ripping, eye-opening album. They put out one thing after this. It's kind of like a few new songs and a few mishmash of other things, maybe a demo on it. But this is a band that I wish they would have done more. I think they could have went toe-to-toe with a lot of I don't know. They don't really have the commercial popular sound of like Testament or any of those bands really. So they're I guess the underground They're more in the underground of the Bay Area, but fuck, this album rips. So good. Very good. And we're going to start with our number 6. We're going to start with Trevor.
Perfect. We're going to go heavy Forbidden tonight, especially as we get to the top of my list. This is a mid-2000s release. We're going to go with Omega Wave.
That's a decent comeback, man. It's a good album. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, thank you. I enjoy this one. It's got the double gatefold, right? It's a great album. Yep. My favorite track on here is Hope Gnosis, but I mean, you've got a ton on here. It was hard. I always like to write down when we do these type of lists, like my favorite personal one. There was so many, it was very hard for me to choose on this. I'm a huge fan of Craig's guitar playing, specifically.
So good.
Like, dude, yeah, and he doesn't fuck around, you know what I mean? He will tell you, like, I love... if you don't know about Craig Licicero and his thoughts on tuning, just go Google that and you will be educated. Because he doesn't play. And he's right. Play well and it doesn't matter, basically, is what he's getting.
I like that. Tuning is overrated.
Tuning is overrated.
Tuning is stupid.
Just play well and whatever the fuck tuning you choose.
That's right.
Find one and stick with it.
Agreed.
I think he was talking about C standard or something. I don't know what it was. And he was saying, if you can't fucking rip in standard tuning and whatever. Anyways, I respect the shit out of it. Also, he's a huge 49ers fan. I'm a huge Niners fan. Bay Area, yeah. Ryan Parsons, I see you in the chat over there, my new Bay Area buddy. But yeah, Forbidden, Omega Wave. Again, Hope Gnosis is my favorite song in here. But this one you've got, obviously it's the double gatefold, so you've got 4 sides. Love that album right there. I think I got this from the Realms of Rock a few years ago, by the way. Shout out, brother Eddie. Yeah, a little plug for my friend Eddie out there in Pennsylvania. But yeah, I love that album. I'm a huge Forbidden guy, too. I know we've all mentioned it tonight, and that will not be the last time I bring up Forbidden tonight. Just a little tease into future of the list with me there. So,
all right, a little foreshadowing. Very nice. Very nice.
Suspense.
Miss A.
Oh, shit. I was about to have a drink. Hello. Okay. So my next one is... God damn it. Can you guys say it? I know I really have to get physicals. I suck. This band is called Hemotoxin. And this one is Biological Enslavement. I believe their best album. They're not like super well known, but they're really interesting because they're kind of like progressive technical rock mixed with like death thrash metal. It's a really interesting combination because you can hear the really technical, well done music, but then it's super riffy and shreddy. But then the chord progressions are like jazzy, so it's an interesting combination. They're like influenced by like Death and Atheist and stuff like that. They have a couple albums or whatever, but the Biological Enslavement one I think is the best one. And just because I like to suggest songs to listen to first, I suggest Regression. And then listen to the rest of the album around that song because I think it's their best. Hemotoxin is a killer band. Not a lot of people know about them, but they're really good. So, yeah, that's my pick.
All right. Lee, what you got?
Everyone put down your drinks. Do the imaginary oranges. Step by step. By step. What a great fucking song. Why didn't no one say that, Alan?
Someone said it in the chat.
Oh, I wasn't looking at the chat. I don't listen. But Alan never said it. But this is a great fucking album. And that song alone is worth the price of this tape. You know, and just a great band. Like, I don't think, I mean, do you want to know something really depressing? Because I can't really top Alan's thing of this. I mean, he's smart.
Right, that's up.
He knows where the Bay Area is. That's one step ahead of me. But you want to see, if you want to have a look at some depressing shit, go and have a look at Paul Russ Anderson's Facebook, and he was coming back to the band. And then that's like however many years ago, and it just stops. And anyway, so we tried to get him for the show, and I didn't know anyone that could get in contact with him, and I got in contact with a mutual friend of us, and he's like, yeah, no, he doesn't associate with anything in this world anymore, allegedly, because he's just got too many things going on. Anyway, but while he was in this world, man, he just destroyed these 3 albums. The Raw Raw or whatever the fuck it's called. Twisted into Form and Forbidden Evil. I don't like the way that they continue to just regurgitate these two skulls flying into each other on past things. I think that's cheap. But these 3 albums, man, the one that it's under the thing, is on you saw it. But great fucking Bay Area thrash. And Step by Step, great song. Should have been on MTV or something.
But I guess Russ was very instrumental in selecting the Norman Skinner guy on vocals. He was part of the decision. I know Craig wanted him back, but what was it? It was on Jeff's channel. I think they were talking. Russ was battling some addiction problems and felt getting back into the band would put him back into a slippery slope. So, you know.
I hope he's doing well, man, because he was a great singer. And,
oh, yeah.
So much of my teenage years was spent trying to sing his songs, which didn't happen. But, I really do hope he's found some type of peace.
All right. Good one. Alan.
All right, number 6. I thought this would be higher on my personal list. I'm disappointed in myself. But this is where it ended up. It is Heathen, Victims of Deception, second album. This is one that hit at the right times, kind of senior year, high school, I think. A friend of mine found out about them first and tracked down a copy of this for me. He got to the big city record store before I did. And he's like, well, what do you want? I'll look for something that you'll dig. He knew we'd heard a couple of Heathen songs off like a compilation album. And so, he tracked this down for me. I always have loved this album. This one does feel to me like their response to And Justice for All a bit. It's you got longer, kind of more quote unquote mature song structures than you did on Breaking the Silence, which is a fine album itself. Nothing at all wrong with that one. But yeah, this was one that for the rest of high school was just in constant rotation for me and for a lot of my friends. And one thing that became interesting about this too, we even had some folks that weren't really that into metal. They would listen to just a little here or a little there. And this was an album they would gravitate to when we were playing it. They'd be like, hey, that's cool. Who's that? He's like, well, okay, it's this. They would check out, be like, can I get a copy of that? Like, yeah, sure. So it was one of those odd albums that not a band in the Big Four or anything like that, but it just kind of caught on in our little corner of the high school universe. And a lot of people enjoyed it who were not really that invested in heavy metal. They might have had, a handful of tapes. Mostly they were listening to, and I'm talking not just kids that were like more listening to Motley Crue. I'm talking kids that were mostly listening to like, country music or gospel music. This was one of the heavier albums they actually enjoyed a lot. In terms of ranking it, why did it end up at number 6? It has started to fade a little bit with age. This is one that I feel, has slipped a little bit with time. Still a very good listen, and I still enjoy it, but it doesn't quite have I don't have as strong a reaction to it now as I did even 10 years ago. So I feel like it's maybe just slid a few places down the list over the years, but it's still a personal favorite and a great album. If folks have not checked this one out, it's definitely worth it. It is kind of a long album. It runs a good 60-ish minutes, if I remember correctly, but very strong. It's one of those late 80s, early 90s thrash albums where, again, they've kind of, like I said before, there's kind of mature. The subject matter is different. They're talking more about societal topics and things like that. There's no goblins, blades, or anything like that flying around, which, it's got its ups and downs. You lose a little bit of that youthful enthusiasm, but you tighten up and you're able to perform a little tighter, a little better. So I've got that. Heathens, Victims of Deception as number 6.
All right.
Cool pick, dude.
Thank you.
Number 6. We're going to get into Oppressing the Masses by Violence.
I was so hoping. Sorry, Marty. Violence. Yes.
This is one of those bands that I think was held back a bit due to the fact that their vocalist Sean Killian was such a polarizing singer. He had kind of a, I guess, annoying shouting style, but it somehow worked. Once you got past the shock of it being a bit weird, different, a little more hardcore, I guess. It fit alongside this. And even though Eternal Nightmare, absolute classic, for some reason, this album, it took all of that and made it a little bit more technical. And the songs on here and the riff writing is just so lethal. And it's so funny that you listen to something so technically charged and aggressive that would spawn a band like Machine Head. I mean, how do you go from this to Machine Head? I just don't. I don't get that whole knuckle dragon yo boy shit. I just don't get how, he could go from this to that. But I guess, sell way more albums is probably the reason why here. But this album rules. Prophet, Officer Nice, what a great song. World in a World. That was the video. They put the camera on the kid's head and sent him into the pit. Cool. It kind of puts you right in the whole vibe of what it was in the Bay Area during the manic times where the crowd went fucking nuts. So they, I think, captured their live performance really well on here, even though this is on Megaforce Atlantic. So there's some money behind this production. It's a clean production, but it allows the technicality of the riffs to really cut through. Again, I get it. If you're not a Sean Killian fan, you can't stand the vocals. Try to avoid it and listen to the music on here. The riffs are great. The songs are great. This is a banger. This is a banger for sure. Love it. Good album. And that brings us to number five. Miss A, we're going to start with you.
Top
Ooh.
5.
All right. So I picked fucking phone. I hate it here. What is happening? Okay, Primal Right.
You're overly
Primal
critical
Right.
of yourself. You're good.
Okay. They're a really good band. They only have one album, sadly. Came out in 2018. They have like a couple singles here and there, but this album on the whole is really good. They're like a combination of hardcore punk and thrash like crossover. But this album's called Dirge of Escapism. I can never say that word. And Dirge of Escapism. Interesting combination of music if you get a chance to listen to them, and check out Anti-Venom first, and then listen, let me tell you, this is the way to do this album. Listen to that one first and then start from the top and go down, and it sounds like a story if you go in that order. So I think it's like the third track or the fourth track, but start with that one and then start from the top and go straight down and skip that one, and it literally sounds like a story, like Nick Cave telling stories. It's really good.
Awesome. And I apparently have a bit of a cookie buzz here. I don't remember who went before Miss A. Who went before Miss A?
She's the first one here in our top 5.
Oh, right on.
I'm
Yeah.
Number one. You're number one. All right. Lee.
Cookie Buzz.
Cookie buzz.
I feel like a cookie now.
I want some of Marty's cookies. Don't hide it, Marty.
Now we're getting down to the business. And look, if you don't know how Machine Head came from violence, then you obviously haven't heard the Burning Red.
Ugh.
I love that
check that
reaction.
out.
Now.
Oh, Supercharger.
Very honest,
Supercharger,
Marty.
great.
I'm going to go get me a hockey jersey and cornroll the remaining hair on my head. I'd be fucking sick, bro.
Or you can do your hair like a pineapple.
Yeah.
You gotta
Sad
shorten
looking
your
pineapple.
name instead of Marty Worm. You're just Worm now.
Worm. Yeah.
I just call myself
What up, Worm?
MW. Yeah.
Pair of Adidas. Second albums. I love second albums, especially this one. Sorry, this one. That was a great album, man. I'm so bummed that they weren't from the Bay Area.
I know this guy.
I'm sure they went there once.
Yeah, a few times maybe to get drugs.
Well, he was in Metallica, wasn't he? Have I got that part wrong too?
For fucking 5 minutes. Anyways.
The new
Love you, Lee.
Can't wait till Sunday. The New Order. Dude, I think there was a trend that was happening around this time, because remember there was just a lot of songs about Stephen King's books.
Yep.
And, this one has the Children of the Corn song on it. But, I don't know who started that. I don't know if it was the Anthrax or the Testaments. But
Ooh.
I mean, I'm sure someone in the chat will say that it wasn't either one of them, but this just had such a great. And was this the one with the the Aerosmith? I say every time I see a thrash band do a song of like a cover, you ran out of ideas quick and you needed something. But
they did. They rushed. That album was rushed. Actually,
yeah, because what the first one kind of did all right.
Yeah, the label wanted another album. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still a good album. It's just
great album.
When you hear Testament cover Aerosmith, it's not bad. It's just it's not what you want, I guess. But I mean, still now looking back, on my ripe old, because I'm 25 now. This is something that's definitely kind of grown on me over time. So I don't mind the Aerosmith cover, but I did, notice obviously the Disciples of the Watch still. I don't know if that still has to be in their set to this day. All right, they just were a band that I think always lived in the shadow of Metallica, which I can see why. But I mean, Chuck Billy, I thought, was a way more superior singer than James Hetfield was, and Dave Mustaine.
Yeah.
Young Chuck, it was absolutely a monster on vocal, and it's. I still love the fact they're putting out albums today. Have I heard any of them? No. I love the fact that they're doing it, and this one here, very, very much. The memories of this in high school and listening to this with friends and arguing over was this better than Legacy or is Practice What You Preach better than this. I still remember those days, and you just can't replace that type of shit. So yeah, New Order, great album.
Great album, agreed.
Yeah.
Alan.
All right, let's see. Number 5 is the only one I don't have a physical copy of, and it is going to be Violence, the Eternal Nightmare. So I went with the debut on that one. But it's the one I just go back to a lot more than Oppressing the Masses. Nothing against Oppressing the Masses, but I could not tell you. I bet I haven't played that album in 20 years. No exaggeration. Eternal Nightmare has, on the other hand, held up extremely well. The songs there they did stick in my head better. Overall, it's just a catchier album. Oppressing may be a better thrash album, but Eternal Nightmare for me is just a more fun album. And yeah, the vocals is the make or break it thing with Violence. For folks, Daniel in the chat a few minutes said Violence, no-go zone for me. I get that. He's certainly not alone in that camp. Kenny's vocals never really threw me off that much. I can see where they would bother folks, but it's not a problem for me personally. Eternal Nightmare was an odd one. I got it as like a used cassette tape at a outdoor flea market in a burned out drive-in movie theater as a kid in high school. Yeah. Somebody just had a random handful of tapes there, and you're looking through them hoping there's something that's not just a country album or a Barbra Streisand album. It's like, okay, I have no idea what this band is, but it's clearly something heavier. The cover art was kind of creepy with just the kid falling into the mouth. Yeah. So like, I'll give you 50 cents for this, and stumbled into something that was pretty cool. So fun album, lots of good tracks on it, and it's the one I go back to for Violence more than Oppressing the Masses. So that got it into the top 5 tonight. And just to wrap up, I agree with Lee's point about Testament kind of always in the shadow of some of the other bands. I mean, I think literally just even on a bigger scale, you have, the big 4 of thrash. Testament's not in it. Testament's like the band vying for number 5. Are they number 5? Is it overkill? It doesn't matter because neither of them quite made the cut into the big 4. So they really did kind of get stuck in the shadow of those other bands a bit, which was a shame. They were really good and still are.
Could easily be the big 6 if we really wanted to correct shit, or big 8.
It's a fun, discussion there. Is that which who is the 5th one, or how many do you have to expand before you feel you get? Is it 6? Is it 7? Is it 8? How many before you feel like okay, we've got the stable completely filled out? Don't know.
Yeah.
But that was a good point by Lee. That while Testament is great, Testament did always feel like they had to live in the other band's shadow. All right, Marty, it's time for your number 5, I believe.
time to wade into that age-old debate. Our friend Daniel Eikeroth. Cheers, Daniel. Hope Sweden is treating you well. Already mentioned it in the chat that we're going to put this in here even though it's a death metal album, but this is not a death metal album. It is not. Possessed Seven Churches. I see why people want to call it a death metal album. They may have mentioned it in here. The last song on the album is called Death Metal. But it's
and
like
if you change the title of that song, I don't think anybody would be calling it death metal. That is my hot take for the night.
I've even seen an interview recently on MTV, or a YouTube clip from a MTV interview that Jeff Becerra did, where he kept going over and over, we're a thrash band, we're a thrash band, we're a thrash band. Now, revisionist history, you see a recent interview with Becerra, we're the first death metal band. He's whichever the way the wind blows and gets you the most, people paying attention to you, I guess. But this to me was always just a thrash album. Obviously, at this point, I didn't know what death metal was. So everything that was like even Celtic Frost, I'm lumping them into the thrash category, even though that may not be 100% correct. This to me is always a dark thrash record. The riffing on it is dark. It's evil. Obviously it's a satanic thrash record. I love the hammer-on riff styling of Larry Lalonde on this shit. He's just had those hammer-ons just made the riff sound that much more sinister, which is very cool. But yeah, Seven Churches. I think as the years went on, I may have paid a lot more attention. I really love the Eyes of Horror EP. I listened to the shit out of that album, or that EP. But this thing is just kind of perfect from start to finish. Dark, evil. Again, sounds nothing like anything going on in the Bay Area at that point. What do you credit that to? I don't know. Do they, were they influenced by Venom? Was it the drugs? I don't know. But, you look at the band photos for this session, they look like a black metal band. It's
totally, dude.
They were really borrowing from, various avenues of darkness and evil to arrive at something that wasn't wearing shorts and or ripped jeans and high tops. It was, of course, they kind of went into that as they went on, but this early shit was evil, and it made a mark. And thankfully, the songs were there to back up that whole persona that they created. And then he went on to be in Primus. So
with Blind Illusion in between.
Yeah, exactly. The Blind Illusion transition for sure. But yep, that was my number 5, and we are now sliding into number 4 with Lee.
Okay, here we go. Business end stuff. All right, so no one else wants to call this a thrash album, but I'm calling it a thrash album. This is a great album. Everyone knows it's a great album.
Oh, yeah.
I always knew it as a thrash album. I don't know when it stopped becoming one. I think I get the arguments, but I mean, songs like Four Horsemen, Seek and Destroy. What's the last one? Metal Militia. I mean, these are still. I mean, these are now considered staples in. I mean, if you pick up thrash, if you type thrash top songs or whatever, one of those has to be on there. Seek and Destroy at least. So I mean, this changed the face of the whole thing. This was the starting point, of thrash. This is the origin story. So how this is now not called a thrash album is almost blasphemous to me, but this is a great album. May not have been my first one to them, but when I went from Master back to this, I wasn't disappointed, or I wasn't, going, I like Master better. I like this just as much. And I love the way that Metallica had, there was a definite color code that ran through the first few albums. Like, this was the red and black album. The next one was depending on what version you got, the purple and black album. And then, Master was the purple and other colors albums. I mean, the covers kind of had that great aesthetic to them, This is where she starts for all of us. May not be the one you heard first, but definitely this is where the story starts.
Oh, agreed. Yep.
Right
and
on.
yeah, I liked that one a lot more when I worked backwards to it too, than some of the others I had heard.
And I skipped Shred's number 5, so he's going to do a twofer here, a 5 and a 4.
We're
Sorry,
gonna do
man.
a 5 and a 4. We're gonna do a 5-4, and that's okay because we're gonna stay.
And those cookies are messing
route.
with you tonight.
I know, the cookies.
Well, I was like, wait, and then I was like, I've been marking mine off as I go just to make sure, like my bingo card, and I'm like, wait, am I? Because I took a lot more cookies than Marty did. I'm gonna say that. I got cookies. I'm like, maybe we are on 4. Fuck, what did I do? Anyway, Master of Puppets. Love this album. I don't need to get this. This was my first ever hearing Metallica right here. Obviously, title track Master of Puppets was the first song I heard. My favorite song on this album is Orion, however. It's one of the first songs I learned how to play on guitar when I was like trying hard to play guitar. I was like, I didn't want to learn Master of Puppets or Ride the Lightning or any other shit that everyone else was playing. I was like, I want to fucking play Orion, man. So, love this album. Always will be this is the gateway for me to get in and then go backwards and forwards and all that shit. I think I was probably 12 or 13 when I first heard this. Again, my mom worked at a pizza place, jukebox, was hanging around with a bunch of older dudes, and this was what was playing, and I loved it. Again, this is another one of those albums, even when Orion comes on the radio today, I get goosebumps. Okay, and since I'm doing a twofer, I'm going into my number 4, right? Okay, we've got, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, it's right in front of me right here. Exodus, Bonded by Blood. I had a feeling, and I did want to ask you, Alan, or whatever, this is obviously not the original cover. Even when I bought this, the dude's like, that's not the original, and I'm like, yes, I know, this is like a bootleg that's in your store, sir. Maybe you should explain it to me. However, I didn't get an explanation, because we all know that for the original cover, Marty had it there with the little devil babies, kind of had that deicide bluish cloudy thing in the background, whatever. But no, I love Bonded by Blood. This is my solid number 4 for this pick tonight. I loved Exodus. Again, I had to go backwards. Again, I heard Metallica, and then friends were like, "Oh, Kurt was in Exodus." And I went, "What's Exodus? Let's check that out." And man, went backwards. Bonded by Blood, really good album. My favorite song here is Metal Command.
Good choice.
This is a weird. Like, I don't know, like, Alan, you had the same one. Like, this is a weird CD, dude. Like,
Yep.
it's confusing. There's the back of it. You know what I mean? Like, I remember...
Great band picture.
His pants. Look at his
Right,
pants.
look at those daisy
Gotta love the socks.
dukes.
Yeah.
How'd you get the beans above the Frank, boy?
Right. I have questions. You know
It's
what I
like a
mean?
division sign.
Yeah. Again, not the sexiest.
What's going on in there, Bailoff? It's all lumpy and weird.
There's 2. Why is there 5 lumps? You know what I'm saying?
Maybe he needed some of those blue chews.
Maybe you found a poser in there and killed it.
The blue gold, yeah. But again, when I saw Alan pull this, I was like, uh-oh, we're going to have to go a little deeper on this one. But yeah, Bonded by Blood. Again, who likes short shorts?
We like short.
Anyways, so if there's anything glorious about this not having the original cover, at least you get
Shorts,
that.
Hey, bonus question, Shred. Do you know what the front cover of that is?
No.
Alan, do you know what the front cover is? What
It's a crowd. Is a zoom in on a crowd, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Is
it's
that
a
what
crowd
that is?
scene. Yeah.
Oh, you know what, Lee? It's sort of like that your animated video. That now I see the faces and it is all blended in there, isn't it? Okay,
It took me a while. Now all I used to like it better when I thought it was
bones or something. Yeah, I thought it was like bloodied bones or something. My eyes are old as shit. This is like my 8th prescription since I'm 40 and fucking 6 years. So, yeah. I'm like, it's cool. What's not the real one, though? But anyways, shorts. Dig it. So that's my number 4.
Ugliest
So I didn't want to.
Catherine Bach ever.
extra points for the Roddy shirt, right?
He was Catherine Bach's stunt double on the Dukes of Hazzard.
No.
Season 2, she wouldn't wear the little red
absolutely
bikini
right. Oh
around
my
the
God, I
farm
can't
anymore, so Paul's.
Why do you keep showing Margaret Thatcher on a cold day? Margaret Thatcher on a cold day.
I just want to imprint that on people's memories as a juxtaposition, at least. You know what I mean?
Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man? How you doing, Jeff?
Cheers, Jeff.
Jeff.
Everybody go check out Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. He's got another interview coming up here soon. So bunch of stuff going on over there. Go
Love
support
that guy.
the Gas Masks and the Hand Grenades. Please. Great shit.
Do it. Good interviews.
Hell yeah.
Tons of
All right.
cool hiking videos. He's always out there mountaineering and shit. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Yukon Cornelius. All right.
Who knows that reference? Come on. Favorite movies from our youth. That was a good one, Marty. Attaboy.
All right, Miss A.
Okay. Right. This one is the band Molten. They're really good. This album is called Malicide. It's actually their newer album. Historically, I like the older albums from bands' discographies, but for this one, I prefer their newer one, which came out in 2024. They're like a hybrid thrash band, but they're hybrid with old school death metal and doom. And since I'm an elder goth, goth is kind of my wheelhouse, and doom and funeral, I fucking love them. They're really good. Best song on that Malicide album is Oathbreaker. And look, this is just such a cool cover, dude. I wish I could make
cool.
better, but the artwork on this is awesome. And this entire album is just fucking fantastic. So if you've never heard of them, Molten, check them out. They only, I think just 2 albums that, correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys know who they are. I think it's just the 2, but man, they're good. They're real good. Check them out.
Miss A with the underground bangers tonight. Right on.
It is.
I told you backstage, I think, if I didn't say it live, I'm so jealous of her underground. Earlier, I was like, holy shit, I'm writing all of these down and reaching them later, and I'm such a poser for not knowing them in my own area.
I thought people were going to be big mad at me for talking about shit that wasn't the Legacy acts, and I was like, this is the stuff I listen to. Oh, I don't know what else to say. So
No, that's awesome. That gives folks who don't know there's something to check out.
yeah,
Don't worry. I ran defense by saying Megadeth, so I won't be doing that again for you.
Well, you got kind of right. I mean, Dave wrote a lot of the songs on Kill 'Em All, so technically, you slid in there just right.
You can't laugh at me and
Hell
then
yeah.
give me a hug, Marty.
You gotta build. We build you up and then we tear you down, Lee. That's what's going on here.
it's the velvet glove with the iron fist, Smack her with the nice glove.
I imagine this night going way different.
I didn't.
Lee feels like Ren and Stimpy, and Marty's like George Liquor here.
Right.
Ren and Stimpy reference. Hell yeah, Alan. Now we're partying, folks. Ren and Stimpy have entered the room.
All right, Alan.
All right, we're on number 4. All right, well, Marty's already talked about this one in depth. I don't need to add a ton. I picked Possessed, 7 Churches. This one's held up extremely well over the years. The level of musicianship is extremely good, with Larry Lalonde, of course, involved. The only real knock about this album is, people get too distracted arguing about the whole, is it death metal or not? Is it the first death metal album or not? Yeah, it influenced death metal. Sure, absolutely. Early death metal bands definitely were aware of this, and it had an impact on them. That's great. I just don't hear musically a whole lot on here that screams death metal. I hear thrash metal, no problem. It's someone in the chat mentioned, it may have been Jay, dark thrash. Thrash could stray darker. They certainly weren't the only band to do that. Dark Angel did that at times. Other bands did as well. But it's still thrash at its core in a musical sense. It's fine that this album also influenced bands who went into death metal and also into black metal directions. This album is legendary for that scene. But no one's calling this the first black metal album or the second black metal album or the third black metal album either. It's not musically, it just doesn't have those characteristics. It's a thrash album. It's a damn good thrash album. We can enjoy it as that. If you really want to call it something else, that's fine. But the debate has gotten tedious long ago. Just enjoy the album for what it is. Damn good music from a band that's had a very short and strange catalog in their original run. The second album is good, but has such a weird production. And then there's the EP, which is really good, but it's just the EP. And then that was it. There's not a lot of Possessed to enjoy. So yeah, I'd rather people just focus on how cool the album is than keep trying to insist that it beat Necrophagia and Death to being the first Death album. I honestly do think, I mean, you can call it a hot take. I think if you change the title of this song from death metal to just something like, Hell Ripper or, Satan's Commandos, I don't think this argument ever takes place. I think people put way too much stock in that one song title and trying to plant their flag based on that. And that's not enough. That just doesn't cut it for me. People can disagree. But I will put it at number 4 in terms of best Bay Area thrash albums. And then I'll pass it to Marty.
Yep. All right. Number 4, Twisted into Form. Man, everything that everybody said about this album already is true. And then 100% more than that. I saw them on this tour. They headlined. It was Realm from Milwaukee or Wisconsin. It was Death Angel. They're on the Act 3 tour. And then Russ sounded just like the album. He was amazing. It was a great show. Scary place. It was Flint. It was at the Capitol Theater in Flint. And it was scary. At that point, Flint was a pretty scary place. But this album, they evolved a bit stylistically. The riffs got a little bit more melodious. There's still a lot of technicality here, but they went for more nuance and for more maturity in their songwriting. And Craig's lead work and those harmony lines are just so engaging. And, the icing on the cake is Russ just completely soaring above all of it, with a vocal style. I think his voice fits a little bit better in this context, maybe than on the debut, but still it's perfect. Either album is perfect, but I think the music is better suited to his vocal dynamics and power on here. Again, there's a little bit more. I think he leans into the trad metal vibe a little bit more here, but yet still maintaining that thrash foundation. This thing is absolutely great. Infinite, what a great lead-off track. Tossed Away, I love the emotion in that song. Of course, Step by Step. There is not a bad song on there. It's great. An absolute great, perfect album that, I have never heard Distortion or Green. I have not heard a single note off of either. They just never were around. Never around. And then I heard someone say they went groove metal, and I'm like, well, I ain't fucking going there. So I never wanted to, pay the import prices to get albums that I'm probably going to hate. So even though people tell me that it's one of them is good, but I don't know. I'm happy with these two, and then the Omega Wave. That's fine. That's fine. All right, we are on to number 3.
Top 3.
I'm going to just go in order here so I don't get this all jacked up. Trevor.
Well, I don't know how I can say it any better than you just did, so I'm also now Twisted into Form. Great choice, Marty. I don't know how I can say it any better. You pretty much took the words out of my mouth when you were speaking of Craig's guitar playing and stuff like that. Everything you said about this album, I don't know how I could say it any better. I honestly don't. I was sitting there looking at you sort of mesmerized, going, fuck, but awesome, because, man, Marty and I just bonded, and he doesn't even know it.
Bonded by blood?
We bonded by blood, but my title track does it for me, obviously, but they all, again, like Marty said, every single song, for those of you youth out there, every single song is a slapper, man. It's a banger.
What a great intro, too. The twin lead lines at the beginning of that thing before it goes into Infinite. It's just, so good.
And just to prove the album is actually in here, of course it's in the...
The actual vinyl is in his kid's treehouse right now.
It's in there.
Getting shit on by a bird.
In the honeycomb hideout out above the fish pond. Yes. That's where the rest of the vinyls for the rest of the night are actually in his tiny little Fisher Price fucking record player out there. But again, come on. There we go. That's why I made my top 3 right there. Top 3 right there. Forbidden, Twisted into Form. had an impact on me, and I will mark it off my list.
All right, on. I'm glad someone's keeping track around here.
Only
Lee.
for myself.
A little thing you don't know about Shred, he loves lists. And we have to
I
put
do
up
like-
with one of his... Yeah, it's fucking
I do an
annoying as shit.
itinerary every week. It keeps me
Yeah.
in line.
It does, but it doesn't. I've never seen you follow that itinerary ever. It's like
I
a
just
list
like
that
to look
says...
at it
it's
and try to make you follow it. Mr. No Prep. Lee likes to do the no prep, show prep.
Yeah. Oh,
Alan can get into that. He puts up with that every week.
Yeah. Oh, Alan, we might be able to commiserate a tiny little bit. I love you, though, Lee. It's
I'll show you my list if you show me yours.
Whoa.
Hey, got over me.
Let's darken the lights.
Yeah, Alan and Trevor are going to collaborate on a How to Kill Your Co-Host YouTube show.
For heavy, in all seriousness, for heavy metallurgy, I have a spreadsheet. It's over 4,600 rows worth of notes at this point over 5 years.
How many notes do I have on my itinerary, Alan? None. That's why you're the brains.
Hey,
Your
Marty,
itinerary
you're the-
has cookie crumbs and an empty white claw can on it.
Marty is
That's
the
why we
Bobby
work so
Lee
good.
You're the Bobby Lee of your own channel, dude.
Right.
I swear,
in the best way, by the way.
Alan's notebook is probably just like 1,000 pages of all work and no play make Alan a dull boy. And we'll only find that out after he's dead. Everyone, come. It's business. It's business time because we're about to go into some more personal stories. But second albums. Second albums, all right? Let's just...
This fucking
The
guy.
trick is, okay, Alan did it right. Alan went possess, Dark Angel, possess. That's how he slipped it in. I understand the way this works now. Ride the Lightning, great album. Now, this is one of those albums where, do you remember when this came out, the amount of merchandise that came out around this thing? First off, you've got like I would say a very subtle political statement with the electric chair, right? I don't really remember if Ride the Lightning was for or against. But the T-shirts that came out about this, you got this one, or you got the toilet with the fucking knife going through it, man. They were iconic. If you had the toilet with the knife, you were like king shit. Everyone loved that shirt. Somehow putting a knife up your butt made for a good T-shirt. And a toilet. Who would have thought? But dude, what a great album! And I would say out of the classics, this has to be the heaviest album that they ever done. Right? I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong or am I wrong? I've been wrong about everything else. At least the most intense album. Okay, Master being, but Fight Fire with Fire coming in with that, man. And I hear a lot of people say that, and this is where the thrash thing came in, but. Dude,
It's a transitional album. I mean, they went from new wave of British heavy metal inspired to thrash. You know? What I mean? Yeah.
And
Well said.
my trajectory to this was Master, Kill 'Em All, and then getting this one. And that, I think, strengthened this album for me 100%. And then to see all the cool, because everyone had a Master of Puppets t-shirt. I always saw it's the same t-shirt. I don't think they ever did any other shirts. But for this particular album, the merchandise that came out is so cool. To this day, if I see anything with this, and I've got this on vinyl twice, and I've got this on cassette twice. I have no idea why. I think it's because when you see one in the wild, especially when you see Megaforce on it, my little panties go up my butthole, and I'm like, I need this. Again, I'm not going to listen to it, but I need it in my thing. So this album, such a great album. Such a great album, and it should be the favorite of most people, as well as I'm not a big fan of the Master thing. However, the album is a different story. But
Had to show it.
You had to show it. It was a great. It was a good introjectory into my
topical.
rude interruption. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Completely blew my train of thought. Thanks.
Always trying to blow you, Lee. That's what I'm trying to do.
It's just like Sunday. It's just like Sunday.
I knew this was a bad idea.
We gotta sprinkle it in over here at the Heavy Metallurgy a little bit.
You're home, Lee. You're home.
I was thinking of something. I don't know what I was thinking of, but I was thinking of something. I'll put this away. Anyway, I'm finished.
Yeah, you put all the
was that- was
Megadeth
that-
away.
was-
If you have any more Megadeth, just put it away. Just kidding.
I don't know where
Love
else
you.
I've got. I don't know where the Megadeth went. Was this number 3?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, I'm on track again.
All right, Miss A.
Oh, okay. My next one is fuck me, Parabellum.
Parabellum rules.
Parabellum. Yeah, not the black metal one. The thrash
I know, that's
one.
what I thought when you said that earlier, too.
Can
And
you
I
guys
did
see
it
that?
again.
There you go. And this one is called Behold a Pale Horse. They're kind of like a newer band.
Fucking Jeremy. Sorry, but yeah,
I missed it. What'd he
that
say?
is totally the Hot Topic shirt, bro. And I got that from fucking Barry, by the way. So hell yeah, thank you, Barry. Sorry, Miss A, I did not mean to interrupt again.
What other clothes do you get from Barry? Do you get his secondhand undies
Half my
too? Is
closet.
that?
I only wish, Marty. I only wish I could use
Oh,
more
here we
room
go.
in the crotchal area. Okay, never mind. Sorry, Miss A. There's a lady
guy-
up.
These smell customized.
fault.
I love it.
This has nothing to do with
Authentically
Parabellum.
New York. Sorry.
But let's see if you guys can see. Look, here's
Dude,
Thir-
everyone had that T-shirt. I swear to God.
13-year-old me with every single Metallica album
Hell yeah.
T-shirt. There it
Yeah.
goes.
That's right. I had
Nice.
that one too. 'Cause
Yep.
you were a cool kid. That made you cool.
Very
And it was
cool.
ugly. It was
Topic
ugly
rule.
shirt.
Oh, it
Ugly
It
was.
as
sucks
shit.
so bad.
Listen,
It's like the
you were cool if you had that shirt. Okay, I was
I
so
rocked
cool
one.
for having that
Not
shirt.
anymore.
No, shut up.
if you still had it though, it would actually be.
I'm wearing a
vintage and probably
Guar shirt right
priceless.
now, so I'm very cool. I think I am. Yeah,
They're
I'm
not
wearing
from
a
the
Guar
Bay
shirt.
Area.
You think you're cool? You think you're wearing a Guar shirt?
Listen, Guar is. I don't care. They can be from They're from another planet. They don't have to be from the Bay Area.
There could be
Okay,
2 Bay Areas.
They're from
right.
all the areas.
they're from the Bay Area in space. So fuck yourself. But there you
I
go.
saw them there
Parabellum.
once. Yeah.
Behold a Pale Horse. These guys are newer. They're from. I think they started in like 2020 or 2021, but they were in high school when they started. So now they're only like in their early 20s. I think one of them's like 18. So they're like really, really young. But they're fantastic. They have 2 albums. One was in 2024. One's in 2025. The newer one is the Behold the Pale Horse, this one right here. And the title track is really great. They really, it's nice to see like young kids playing this stuff because they're like a throwback to the original 80s, 90s, raw, aggressive thrash. Like they're like a total throwback, but they're kids. So if you get a chance to listen to them, they're really good, and it's nice to support these like young up and comers. So give them a listen.
And the drummer was 6 when he started playing, Alan.
He was only 2. He was 2 goddamn years old.
He's a Japanese
Right.
kid and he's 6.
I've seen those videos.
6.
Those kids make me mad at myself. I'm like, fuck! I didn't even have any. At 6, you're playing a guitar. I didn't even know what a guitar was at 6. Like plugging stuff into a wall, I would have died at 6.
Those kids
That was
make me
great.
want to chop up all my guitars and burn them in the backyard. I have failed at everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worthy.
All right, Alan.
All right, let's see. Number 3 for me. This is the one album on my top 10 list where I didn't get into it until much later. I heard it, again, more like early 90s. It was one of these cases where I just didn't work back to the band's first album until the 90s, at which point I didn't connect with it. But in recent years, yeah, I've come to understand this is kind of the masterpiece, and it belongs way up here. It is Testament's The Legacy, the debut album here. And I haven't had a lot of debut albums. Since Lee's mentioned it, I've been checking, and yeah, almost half my list is second albums tonight. So there's definitely something to that second album magic. But for Testament, for me, the debut is heads and shoulders above the second album, and the third and fourth and such. This one has a real energy to it, a real fierceness that the next several albums, it still sounds like Testament, but they just don't have quite the same punch as the songs here do, whether it's Raging Waters or any of the others. This one absolutely delivers. So it was one of those, I feel a little bit bad that I didn't recognize it for its greatness back in the day. But like I said, I got it in probably 93. By 93, you could find an album like this on vinyl laying around for $3. I mean, it was 8 years old. Nobody was buying vinyl. Nobody was listening to thrash very much. All the thrash bands were, starting to do the weird shit. And yeah, it was a weird time to try to go back and really connect with the thrash albums you had missed from almost a decade earlier. So it took me a while, but I did get there. And yes, the Legacy, Billion was right up here in the top 3. No question. That is my pick. Marty, what is yours for number 3?
Oh boy, this thing. Ooh. Sadist Chemical Exposure. This is the flex a little bit. This is the DTP put out by the band themselves. Of course, I had to have the CD. If I could find a vinyl for cheap, I'd have that too. But this shit is world class American thrash metal. This shit is so frantic and raw and aggressive. Hell, you start off with Certain Death. There is not a more savage song out there. The thing is so damn good. Sadist Attack, Torture, Hands of Fate, Twisted Face. A lot of this shit were, some songs off of the DTP, Death the Posers demo. This band, I hate to say it, was never this good again. I love Swallowed in Black. I love the albums that came out after it, but they got a little bit more. They lost the franticness, that searing edge, and they went a little bit more technical and strange, which is cool. I still like them. They, no one sounded like them. But this is a snapshot in time, man. This stuff is just so damn aggressive. I love it, and the songs are still catchy. Darren's voice is it's like he gargled battery acid, and stepped into the vocal booth and just started shredding them. But what an amazing band. I love this album. Never gets old. I've spun it a million times. I thankfully got Alan into it. Swallowed in Black is equally a good record. The production is weird on it, but still good record, no doubt. But Chemical Exposure and Illusions, that whole collection of songs is chef's kiss. Awesome.
Yep. Yes.
And we're going to number 2. Number 2, we're going to start with Trevor.
Who does number 2 work for? Number 2 works for Metallica Kill 'Em All in my list tonight. I love. Now listen, you could argue this is a speed metal album easily, but categorized always as thrash because it's part of those first 4, right? I mean, it's just, and that's where it always will lie for me. I personally have a attachment. My dad fucking hated Metallica. He's like, I don't understand and I'm like, dude, out of all the bands I listen to, you might actually like this one, considering he was like a Led Zeppelin guy and a Pink Floyd guy and Frank Zappa guy and all that. I'm like, dude, I know James's vocals aren't super awesome, but I didn't get him with James's vocals. Okay, what I got him with was my favorite song on this album is fucking No Remorse. Okay, that lead that blows your face off, melts it completely when Kurt just fucking, and I said, Dad, I think I had just gotten my old, a few trucks ago, I had a Nissan Frontier, I put like a badass CD player in it, system, and I'm like, hey man, I put the CD and I said, you need to listen. This was 20 years ago, got it. Doesn't seem like that long ago, but it probably is. I go, check out this song. Down, get down, get down. He's like, okay, and then and he goes, what? I go, that's Metallica, the band you think sucks, bro. And he goes, my face just got melted. And I said, yeah, that's what that does. It's what it's supposed to do. So, cause and effect. And I loved that. I still love that to this day. And now the old man digs Metallica. And I mean, he's dug it since then. And then he's even turned around. Like after that, I was oddly able to get him into like bands like Clutch and shit, which is nothing like this, obviously. But
Clutch rules, though.
I do love Clutch. But this, No Remorse, is my song on this album. I love that intro. All the songs are on this are fucking phenomenal to me. Hit the Lights. I've seen Metallica a bunch of times. This is my last pull from Metallica, so I want to tell a quick story. My wife actually used to work at a printing press in San Francisco in the dog patch called Color Graphics, and they printed the So What magazine. And when they did the Death Magnetic tour, we were able to go to the Cow Palace, and pretty much it was like my wife and I and 300 people at the Cow Palace. I was 5 feet from all of them. It was the most intimate concert I've ever been to, and you know, it was the newer album, the Death Magnetic. If you're gonna ask me what of the newer albums is better, that was okay. I'm not a huge fan of the new stuff, admittedly. I don't really like the 72 season stuff and all that. Like, if you like it, cool, you know. But being able to have that access, I almost pulled the magazines for tonight, but I didn't want to take too long. But I have a bunch of these magazines that I'm not supposed to have. Don't sue me, Metallica. But she worked at the printing press at the time, and so I've got these like bootleg magazines, the So What magazine that they used to print back in the day, and through that connection at the printing press, we were able to go to the Cow Palace. The weird thing was, like, it was a warm-up tour for the Death Magnetic tour itself. And so you couldn't buy, there was no alcohol sales. There was like, you could buy like hot dogs, and it was really weird. I just remember going outside and smoking a ton of weed because I couldn't drink and buying a few hot dogs. And then what my wife say? She goes, "You were super pumped because Lars, you got Lars spit or something on you." And she was telling me that earlier today. And I'm like, was it spit or sweat? I'm going to say sweat, because spit just sounds wrong, but it probably was spit, knowing him. You know. So yeah, that's my number 2 follow-up story. Kill them all, but yeah, Death Magnetic tour, Metallica.
Right.
Always will
I like that album. I think Death Magnetic's a good record. That's like their last really good record. It's long,
Marty,
but it's good.
It's long. I fully agree with you. Like anything after that, and even before
Good riffs.
that, yes, I agree.
All right, Miss A.
Oh, okay. All right, finally a band that everyone's going to know. Here we go. Nefarious.
I don't know that band.
Really? Stop it. You don't know this band? They're like a super group. You've never heard of them?
Oh, is that with Gary Hunholt on guitar and
Yes.
yeah, I've heard of them. Yes.
Yeah, it's like the guys from like Exodus, Death Angel,
Yep.
Ethan, Blind Illusion, Hyrax, and Will Carroll, obviously from, remember I said he played
Death
with
Angel.
Phantom Witch.
Oh yeah, and Phantom Witch. Yep.
So like there's the tie-in right there. But yeah, so they only did one album, Addicted to Power. But I wish they had done more, but they just did the one album in 2025. But best song on that album, in my opinion, was Together We Rise. So if you haven't heard it, they're a super group. You should listen to it. It's great. And like all-star cast, so fucking listen to it. It's great. That's it.
All right. Nefarious and Lee, you're up.
I forgot to mention, do you remember the EPs that came off of this? Was Jump in the Fire? Did that come out after this came out? Does
Let me
anyone
look.
remember?
I actually have it up here. Hold on one second.
It came out close, yeah.
Jump in the
'Cause it-
Fire came out before Ride the Lightning. Well,
Oh,
the same. It came out the same year, but it's
But it
listed
was
first.
not
Right,
long
just before it?
yeah.
Yeah.
But remember when if you had the Creeping Death EP, like was that a hard thing to find when you
That
guys
came
were-
after.
No, I know that, but was that if someone had it, was that like a rarity?
I have the cassette of it. I bought it on cassette.
Because
Yeah?
it wasn't
I
hard to
think
find.
so.
The vinyl was always
Yeah.
kind of collectible, though. Yeah.
Vinyl,
And it comes on like
yeah.
a million colors of vinyl. There's
Yeah.
a whole bunch of versions of it.
To have that was almost like finding like the Holy Grail. It was amazing. And I never actually owned it. I had friends that own it, and everyone's like, "Whoa, that's amazing." I'm going with Alan. Kind of. Testament, Legacy. This has like all the songs, man. Over the Wall. What a great song. Burn Offerings. Dude, Apocalyptic City. First Strike. I mean, these are just the classics in their sets, and I don't know. It is a shame. I've said it once that this wasn't something that Metallica. They were always the Metallica's little bastard brother, I guess, or the whatever. They were Canada to Metallica's USA, right? So our New Zealand to Australia, but it's such a this was the time, and none of these bands sounded the same. Like Slayer didn't sound like Testament. Testament didn't sound like Anthrax. And really, they should have really all sounded kind of the same, right? Because they were all kind of feeding from the same. It was a very small base on that family tree. But none of these bands sounded the same, which is a magic time. Now it's like we have if there's a thrash revival, the main goal is to sound exactly like the band that they're dressing up like. It's such a shame that no one's ever cottoned on to maybe just being a little bit more original. And this did not sound like Kill 'Em All. Did not sound like
Nope.
Killing is my business. Definitely didn't sound like my fucking private banger here. This non-Bay Area thrash band. But classic. Absolute classic. And I think it's universally loved. I don't think anyone hates this album. All right?
I don't.
I mean, it's... No.
How could you? I mean,
exactly.
yeah.
I think it's just
if you hate that, you're not my friend. Sorry.
Actually, interesting point. Talking about the big four, there were always that, like, the poor man's big four was only had Slayer and Anthrax in it, I believe. So they used to say, like, out of record sales, Slayer and Anthrax sold the least amount of all of them in the big four, which kind of makes sense, right? Metallica would have had to have killed him and make it. Yeah. But
I'm surprised Slayer kind of hasn't caught up with all the poser fucking celebrity fucking, buying the shit. You know what I mean? They're not buying the albums, obviously.
They retired and came back only a few years later. Isn't that the same thing?
Sure.
Sure. Such an awkward end.
Some would say.
All right.
Sorry,
Alan.
I had heard something. I had to walk out and come back. I had to yell out my bathroom window at someone. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry. There you go.
It's all good. All right, number 2. I think if I had to try to pick one album that's, if we were doing like most important or trying to be objective, this would probably be number 1 instead. But we're doing our favorites, and that makes it number 2 instead. It's Master of Puppets. This album was huge for me throughout high school.
Oh yeah.
Played it to death.
Oh yeah.
And that's really probably the main reason it's number 2. This is an album I have gotten a bit burned out on over the years because I played it so bloody much as a kid. I very rarely feel the need to go back and replay it now. Because even at this point, I was like, damn, I played that album a lot. May have been 30 years ago, but I kind of got my fill of it. But just in terms of band performance, songwriting, it is a masterpiece of an album. This is Metallica's kind of their peak in terms of social commentary for thrash. They are even at this point they're already. They didn't have the level of popularity they got later with the Black Album, of course. Within the heavy metal universe, by this point, Metallica is the shit. Judas Priest is off, doing their fun turbo stuff. You can say Maiden is already crested. The World Slavery Tour is over, and Maiden maybe is never quite that big ever again. And now it's Metallica's turn to just be king of the hill. And with Master of Puppets, Metallica is not only king of the thrash hill, they're king of the whole fucking heavy metal hill by this time. And of course, then of course you have the accident, and Cliff passes away, and the band has to do other things moving forward. Metallica was never quite the same for me after this album. And Justice for All, I have some sentimentality for that album. I just don't. It's always been a hard one for me. But yeah, the first 3 Metallica albums are just a huge part of my teenage existence. Big gateway album, big gateway band for heavy metal and the more serious side of heavy metal, not just the danger and poison side of heavy metal and all of that.
Whoa.
But it's just
slow down.
People know my love of danger,
hate.
People know my danger, love. I'm not ashamed of it. But yeah, a fantastic album, great track list, all immortal stuff. It's only number 2 because I played it too much, and I just can't. As such, I don't want to hear it all that often now.
That album is such a visceral impact. I mean, I still remember, locked in my brainwaves, the way the tape smelled. The printing of the paper, the cassette.
Point,
it's like
man.
It just the whole thing. It just every time you open it up, you get that smell. It was just the way that tape smelled. That Metallica had that smell. I don't know. It's a weird thing to write a connection to, but I was so all in on all that crap. I devoured that shit, and that was part of it.
Dude, you're never gonna beat that 90s, 80s like, remember the clear cassettes when they came out? I remember going, whoa, this thing is clear, and just going, I mean, you're not right. It's like, it's almost like liking the smell of gas in a small way, but like, it is, God, that's so nostalgic, that smell, man. Very, very
The slave
well
to
said.
it. We're all a slave to nostalgia. Well, not all of us, I guess, but I know I am, for sure.
Me too.
All right. Number 2, I'm cheating off Lee's paper, and I'm going with The Legacy by Testament. This album is perfect from start to finish. It is a perfect thrash metal album. It's their most aggressive. I mean, they got more death metal-y at times, and yeah, I mean, they modernized. Now they got blast beats on their record, which is fine. But this, to me, is what an absolute ripper of an album, start to finish. Over the Wall. I mean, that's your lead-off track. Fuck. Chuck Billy. He's his voice, he's a brawler, but yet he's melodious. He can sing really well, and he somehow finds melodic threads to follow in this thrash metal barrage. The guitar work is amazing. We were all talking they were talking in the chat how Greg Christensen, his bass was such a integral part to the Testament sound, and it's true, especially as they went on, like Practice What You Preach, that metallic clanging bass sound, very, very distinctive. But this here is just a hungry band. They're hungry as hell. There's no fat on this bone. It's lean, it's mean, it kicks your ass from start to finish, and there's maturity already in the songwriting. So a band like that can only get better, and they did they write The Legacy Part 2? Maybe not, but Testament still rules. They're still a great band, and this album, perfection. Love it. Great album.
Yeah.
Number 1. Shredbeard. Numero uno.
Numero uno. Okay, because I went backwards to these guys. Okay, it's funny because you guys were talking about Master of Puppets. I had played the shit out of Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, all that, and then I learned about Forbidden. Seriously, right? Because just going through the motions of it all. The first time I heard Chalice of Blood, I almost said title track. Not title track. This is Forbidden Evil. Chalice of Blood, dude. Just it again. Another one of those songs where just saying the title track raises the cackles on my neck and makes me have goosebumps. Russ Anderson's voice, Craig's guitar. Forbidden Evil is my number 1 for this night. I can't get enough of it. If you're talking about me as a young man going back and thinking I had heard some pretty heavy shit and like, wow, okay, Metallica's great, all that, and then I heard this, I don't know. I felt bad for liking it more. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? I was like,
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love Metallica, and I always will, but I went, oh shit, I have a replacement band, and fuck! And not that they replace them, and they never will, but everything has their place. But this album specifically, again, even just, I listened to I let Henry listen to Chalice of Blood earlier. I'm like, dude, come up, dude. I got it on the Bluetooth, check it out. And he was just like, I could see him clicking. I'm like, yes, come on.
Daddy, what's Blue Chew? Shut up, boy.
Oh, they actually, he even knows when the E's delivery is here, Marty. Fuck. Anyways,
Dad, your boner pills are here.
No, the E's is my happy pills. The boner, never mind. Anyway, totally different categories. Love this band, Forbidden Evil. For all intents and purposes tonight, this is my numero uno. I love this band. Love all the members in it. And again, Chalice of Blood blew my face off. Great band, great song.
Nice pick. Yeah, I know people who pick that as the best thrash album of any scene. Period. So
yeah,
no, it's a
I
worthy
wouldn't
pick.
argue with that. Yeah.
All right, Miss A, you're up next. Alan, I'm gonna step out for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay. This is my last one, and not in any order, but this is the last one I have. This is Vorlust. Has any of you guys ever heard of Vorlust?
Cover.
No, cool name.
I know. Look at that sexy lady.
Yeah,
Vorlust.
I like.
Sure has a lot of teeth.
She's a viper. She'll bite.
Yeah, don't go near that. Blue chews, no bueno.
Warlust, they're great.
That's Blue Chew Red over there. Blue Chew Dead.
They started in like 2019, I think, and they're like death black, I don't know, thrash hybrid kind of. Again on Transylvanian record because apparently I love Transylvanian records. I guess that's a thing. They put out their demo in 2019 when they first formed. It's called Beast. And then they did a split called Piss Crystals with Astral Butcher. And if you haven't heard of Astral Butcher, check them out because they're insane. They put out like a single. I don't remember the name of the single in 2022. And then this is their one and only album right here. And it's called Lick the Flesh. Okay. So
Lick
this is
the Flesh.
Lick the Flesh. And
We're talking
it's
piss
so
crystals
fantastic.
and licking the flesh.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But my favorite song on that album is I Am Woman, I Am Beast. So check that song out and then check out the rest of the album. But Warlust, a really underrated band. They only have one album. I hope they put out another one. It doesn't look like they're going to. But check that album out if you haven't heard of them. I love finding new music, so, you know, if you guys are the same and you want to check out something new, check them out. Yes, it does. That's correct.
I've written it down.
Simon knows what's up.
Warlust.
That's it. That's my last one.
All right. Lee.
I want to run an ad before I do my last one. And
Oh, I
prove
forgot
these
to
Why
do
is
an
it
ad.
Megadeth?
Oh, boy.
I forgot to do an ad, you guys. I'm sorry. Sorry. Hey, so if you guys can and you're available, go over to Shredbeard666 on YouTube. Give us a follow and come watch our show on Sunday because we have a lot of fun. Mayhem Sundays, and it'll be us three, and we do a lot of fun shit. So come check us out. I meant to mention that. Sorry. All right, back to you, Lee.
All right.
Here we go. Take two.
Well, she's the best producer in the biz right there.
Before I go to my number one, which should be everyone's number one, has anyone heard Hammer Cult? Have you heard of them? This is one of those bands that won a Battle of the Bands. They did. I think they did 2 albums. The second one is horrible. This one
Did they play Hearts Barracuda for the Battle of the Bands? Sorry, go ahead.
They played
Fucking
Wild
Wardy,
Thing and
dude.
Smoke on the Water. catchy thrash album. They're
Sorry.
I think they're from Israel, I believe.
Don't
Sounds
be
very
political,
exotic.
Lee. What the fuck? There's
They're
war
a country.
going
I can
on.
say their name. God damn it.
You
Anyway,
didn't even say it right.
Israeli. This is why this album's the best album, best thrash album ever. It just happened to be coming out of the Bay Area. Lucky for me. But I can sing one note, and the 100 people that are sitting here watching this tonight can give me the next 2 or 3 notes after it. And that one note is bump, and everyone will just go bum, bum, bum. But dude, if you aren't a drummer,
Sorry.
you can still drum to Master of Puppets. And to show you how good this song is, name one other thrash song that is played on rock radio today. Yeah, nothing. Master of Puppets is the one that is now still played. And it doesn't matter when I hear it, when I know I've overheard it and every other song on this album, I will still listen to all of the fucking 8 minutes of that song. I don't care what it is. It still gets me to this day. I still remember what I was doing when I first heard it. The only thing I would change about this album, though, it may completely change the whole trajectory of why I like this album. But I never liked... I never liked Orion only because it was instrumental. It was like I got it on cassette, and you couldn't fast forward it far enough without somehow fucking up the start of Damage Incorporated. You'd always go into it and have to go back and go
right
back.
into it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you just
they
stretching
force
your
you to
tape.
listen to Orion. Yeah.
Yeah, but dude, Battery, the whole first side is like is perfection. They go on tour with Ozzy, and they have never lost the top spot in the metal world from what? And Alan, you should be in agreement with me, because what year did this come out?
Yep, that's in '86.
And we made a whole video about that, right?
Yep.
So I mean, like this is like Metallica's shooting star never came down. They definitely didn't do everything great after this, but for some reason, like just the albums that they put out to this point, to the Black Album, you could argue the Loads too, just kept them on a ride that they're still continuing today. When did Kirk Hammett turn into a leather handbag though? I was shocked to see him. I saw this.
Way too
oh my
much,
god!
Bro, I
was like, Michael Jackson might have gone black to white, but this guy went white to leather. And I've never seen a dude turn so bizarre.
Dude, Lee, you know what they say? No life to leather, man.
There you go. And with that, Master of Puppets, I thank you all.
No life to leather.
Alan, you couldn't have timed that any better.
That was brilliant.
Circle that one all the way back around again. I know.
Oh, man.
All right.
Good pick,
Miss
Lee.
A went, Trevor went, Alan.
All right. But, good point about Metallica's trajectory. They got on top. They stayed on top. They never really gave it up.
They're still on top.
As far as, I mean, objectively, you can't argue that. Us here may not be huge fans of their more recent work, but that doesn't change the fact that, yes, they're still the biggest name in that business.
In the world, really. One of the biggest bands in the world. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. I think a big part of that Metallica's success was that they not only were they one of the first out of the gate with Kill 'Em All kind of setting the pace, they always stayed one step ahead. They didn't really, until later on, they didn't ever get stuck in a rut. Ride the Lightning's a big step up, like Marty said, that kind of took them out of the new wave of British heavy metal worship, made bona fide thrash metal a real thing. And then Master of Puppets, like you just said, Lee, that one just, is a game changer. And like Shred said earlier, and Justice for All, I mean, they go into this, very different, long technical direction. And all the other bands at the meantime, they're doing whatever Metallica did on the last album. Mm-hmm. When Metallica is, doing tech, most of the other ones are just getting around. They're just trying, like, how can we write something kind of like Master of Puppets? Metallica also, say what you will about the Black Album, maybe they kind of knew it was time to change gears, because look what happened to Thrash in the wake of all of that. Thrash's time was up. So Metallica always stayed one step ahead of the crowd. They never reinvented themselves. They never let the pack catch up to them. So kudos to them. It obviously worked out well. So well, they even get my vaunted number one spot for the night. And I'm going with Ride the Lightning. And again, I think you make
I'm so happy.
You can make a really strong case for Master of Puppets being better in a lot of ways. But as my favorite list, this is the one I go back to more consistently. This one has held up better for me over the last 35 years than Puppets. I never got tired of this one, the way I have got a bit burned out on Puppets. This was a huge part of the high school soundtrack. Yes, I had the shirt with the cover art on it for sure. I wore it until it literally just fell apart. This one's got a good variety of stuff on it too, which it doesn't always get credit for. When you have it on cassette, both side A and side B start off, really fierce with Fight Fire with Fire, and then the B side starts with Trapped Under Ice, which, total rager. You get, the big kind of epic, here already in '84 is a thrash band doing political stuff when every other thrash band is just singing about, cars and zombies and girls. Metallica's already turning their eye towards something more mature. You've got the more accessible songs, with Fade to Black and For Whom the Bell Tolls. You've got the crazy instrumental to close it down. You've got, I haven't even mentioned Creeping Death, which, might just be the apex of all Metallica songs. Not called Disposable Heroes. That might be the one that I would put toe to toe with Creeping Death. It's everything you want. And this, was an album that was really breaking the band big. This was the band that got so many people into this heavier side of metal. You listen to interviews, you read stories and stuff from folks. And so many of them will say they might have missed Kill 'Em All when it came out, but this one was everywhere. It was the album people noticed. It was like, what the heck is that? And like Marty said, for a lot of people, it took them a moment to get used to it. This was so much heavier than what 99% of people had heard in 1984 when this dropped. Sure, there were a few things out there that might have been heavier. You had your Venoms and Hellhammers and stuff. But if you weren't aware of those, this was going to blow your face off. And still does to this day. So I've got Ride the Lightning as my top Bay Area thrash metal album. And now Marty's going to reveal his to kind of bring this to its climax. Blue Chew.
I'm about to go, dude. I almost had. Before you said that, I was about to say some smart ass shit. Go ahead. I can't even do it now. Go ahead.
He's
Marty.
a strong finisher, that Alan.
I was about to. Yeah. Okay. But anyhow, Marty.
I gotta say, this whole night I've been holding it back, but I gotta say, every time I look at Trevor in that Brotherhood of the Snake shirt, those eyes are right where nipples should be. I always like do a triple take because it looks like nipples. It's been driving me nuts, and yeah, I just had to say that.
Sorry.
The nipple shirt.
It is like, yeah, I am in Total Recall 4. Sorry.
We just have to get Trevor to tuck. If Trevor will just tuck and stand before the camera, ask you, would you tuck me, Marty?
Yes. Give me a minute. No, I'm just kidding.
Do the bail off and get those beans and franks. I
was thinking more Ray Finkel, but either way.
Miss A is disappointed with all of us. That's, I'm sorry.
Anyway. I try to do that every Sunday. Anyway.
Yep, I'm cheating off papers here, but Ride the Lightning. This could have been Master of Puppets. I considered it for a moment, but again, we have to go back to, this was the first one that I heard. This is the one, after that, hearing Fight Fire with Fire, listening to that radio show, and then buying my own cassette, and just, this is one of those albums I had to listen to a lot, because this is the album where I'm like letting go of the Dios and the other types of hard rock I was listening to, and, trad metal, to really get it. And I spent a lot of time piecing this thing apart and just falling in love with it. And again, this is their transitional record. This isn't a new wave of British heavy metal record. This is Metallica moving the ball into definitely the thrash area. And but they did it. They kind of pushed aside the desire to go 100 miles an hour the whole time. You got songs like Ride the Lightning, which adds a very strong emotional turn, not only subject matter, but the music itself. And, you see interviews with James, all the shit they got for that song. Oh, these guys are playing acoustic guitars and slow and ballady. And I mean, if this is considered a ballad, I mean, that's really pulling at straws, I think. But, they showed that you could be aggressive on songs like Fight Fire with Fire and Trapped Under Ice, and do something. And Creeping Death, what an amazing riff song. It's an eternal classic, never gets old. And then you throw Ride the Lightning in there, and it's just like, wow, this is coming from the same band. It's crazy. It's a huge step. It's a huge maturity. Master of Puppets, I think, is more from start to finish perfect. In this album, you got Escape, which I like the song, but it is not. It's the weak link on the whole album.
Agreed,
It's
100%.
It's
the blemish. It doesn't suck, but it feels like a throwaway track that maybe should have went on a single and not part of the album. But having said that, this is the album that got the ball rolling. This hurled me into the more aggression, the speed, the power. It had elements of traditional metal still clinging to it. And, talk about the more political type of lyrics. James was a fan of punk. So part of that, I mean, you're just listening to bands that were actually saying something. So yeah, they had stories and tales and whatever, tales of horror, like Creeping Death, of the plague and all this other shit. But, you get other songs that are more, introspective, or looking at the world around them and using that to build your lyrical content. So I mean, this is a huge step in maturity for the band, and it was the tip of the spear of what would come after it. And yeah, it had to be my number one for sure.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. Bury a Thrash from 5 people's perspective. I hope you all had a good time with this one. Tell you what, we had a great time having you folks on. It was a fun time as always. You rule. And everybody, Mayhem Sundays. Every Sunday.
Yay.
8 o'clock.
Be there.
What is going on this Sunday?
Lord Humongous is coming on. Speaking of thrash metal, Brother Lee did his job, as I said in the teaser, to the 10th power, if that is a thing, if you can do that at your job. But yeah, his real name is Eli. I don't know what his stage name is. I fucked that up. But Lord Humongous is coming on this week. Actually, if you give me a moment.
Get those nipples right up at the camera.
I just wanted to do that. Marty, that was for
Press
you.
Press them up there.
Oh, buddy. Oh, no, sorry. Marty, I'll send you some
reach out and
private
pinch it,
pics
Marty.
later. I'll see you in the DMs, Marty. But no, we're going to have Lord Humongous on
I'm
here.
uninstalling Instagram, by the way.
No, you're not. You might be after you fucking get going with me, buddy. But yeah, no, we're gonna have Lord Humongous on, and actually, Lee, you might want to put Lee up. Lee, they gave us Lee has a little more information to give, actually, if you'd like, Lee, Mr. Producer.
Yeah, we have the people who help us with our little sponsory thing, which is Deadly Grounds, had an incident that one of their long-time supporters had an accident as young mother, fall, and she's now paralysed.
Shit.
Yeah, so she's got kids. Their whole life has now been turned upside down, and guess what? Didn't happen. Medical has now pretty much, lack of a better term, just raped the family budget. So they're doing a fundraiser for them, and we figured we want to join in. So we got the tour poster from the Lord Humongous and the Mordant Red tour. We have everyone sign that, and we're going to do like a raffle where you put some money down, and all that's just going to go to the family. So we're going to start that next week with Eli coming on, and finish that the week after with Revik from Mordant Red coming on to be a part of the big raffle draw with hopefully Tom from Deadly Grounds. So we'll be able to see how much cash we get, and push that towards the thing. So come down tomorrow night, have a look. We'll have everything ready to go. Sunday night, sorry.
Sunday night.
Just seeing your
Sunday
face
night.
reminds me that I got to go to work the next day. So
I'm going to text
traumatized.
you 5 seconds after this show, fella.
Am I
Are
echoing?
you stroking out?
You're fine.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
All of the proceeds for the raffle will all go to the fundraiser. So,
Yeah.
wanted to mention
Cool.
that.
Yeah,
Every
cool.
Yeah.
penny.
Good.
Her name
Okay,
is
cool.
Carrie. Her name was Carrie. It's fucking. I was talking to Tom yesterday when we were coming up with this, and yeah, check this out, folks. Be careful in your life, okay? Just saying. Not trying to end this on a bad note. She fell into a wall. You know what I mean? She just fell, and it so either way, she helped Tom sort of get into the biz, and with all of the zombie stuff and his background in production and all that, just to give a little bit more background to that. She sort of took Tom under her. She's like a mama figure to Tom, from what I got, Lee. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I thought she was younger.
She's a mother. It's fucked up. Either way, so we're going to be doing a fundraiser. $5 a ticket. I have all these tickets. Starts Sunday, Mayhem Sundays. Lord Humongous is coming on. We have a split. They have the poster, right, that both bands signed, and that's what we were raffling off.
And the
you're
set
And a
list.
set list of the
Yep.
band.
and the set list. I forgot to mention that. So thank you. All
Come by
for
on
supporting that.
Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. What is that? Central?
Central and
Yes, 6
5
p.m.
p.m.
5 p.m.
No,
Pacific.
5 p.m. where I'm at
God.
right now.
I'm
We got it.
echoing.
Marty's like, I just
Australia.
want to go.
It's messing me up. I'm echoing.
It's Mayhem Metallurgy all of a sudden. Sorry. Thank you for allowing us to.
Mayhem Sundays. Thank you for having us on. Thank you so much. Everyone, please meet us over there on Sundays. Give us a follow. And I look forward to seeing you guys. And thanks for having me on. I know I'm not a big like thrash person, but thank you.
Oh hell no,
Oh.
you did awesome.
Thanks, y'all.
You brought
are
the underground. You brought the underground. It was cool.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Lee, what you got? Or Lee, Alan, what you got going on Let's Talk Metal Tuesday?
Tuesday, we're going to discuss the term U.S. power metal because Marty and I have noticed in recent weeks it's a term a lot of people are a bit confused with in terms of what it applies to and what it doesn't. And I have thoughts about that, and I wanted to share them.
Awesome.
So we're gonna pick at that term and try to figure out why, out of all the metal subgenres, that one seems to trip people up in particular.
All right, yeah, set them straight, man. Let's get this ironed out. And show notes for Metallurgy tomorrow at 5:00 Eastern time in our Discord server. I will be doing the 5th episode of Radio Metallurgy. This is a radio show I've been doing for the past 5 weeks. That's for the Discord only. It won't be shared on YouTube later. It's just for our community. So if you would like to watch that, go join the Discord server. Links in the description. Actually, the week after, my son has been working diligently to program that show. So it's going to be Parker's Picks, Parker Worms Picks. I'll be doing that. He's too chicken to do it himself on here. So which I get. He's 16. He doesn't want to do that, but so that'll be fun. We're doing that. And next Wednesday on the Album Club, we will be doing, Flotsam and Jetsam's No Place for Disgrace. And before that, you need to go over to Warhammer666 channel and what's happening over there.
Yeah, I just try to warm you all up, make sure that you're all in the party mood for when the album club starts. So you'll be all riled up on red cordial, or what do you guys call it, red drink, and sugar up, and then you can like settle into the smooth tones of the album club and pull apart that album, which I thoroughly enjoy. One of my favorite parts of the week, just to nerd out on a Wednesday. So that's 8:30 right before the show. I finished 5 minutes before, so you got time to get a drink and come back and park your ass on that couch.
That's right.
Turn the channel.
Follow Warhammer, the
come follow me.
pre-show. Come see the show on Saturdays on
Sunday.
Warhammer channel.
Oh yeah.
On he does the
Warhammer does a
stuff.
lot. Yeah, Warhammer
And then
Campfire.
Sunday
or
is
the Crunch
Redbeard.
yeah.
But
Jesus.
also follow Lee for his music, upcoming songs, albums, all that stuff.
Yeah, I do things.
He does.
Oh yeah.
He does a lot of
Sometimes I
stuff.
come on too. Sometimes.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and thanks to this crew. We will see you all next week. Have a great weekend, and
Thanks, Marty.
nipples.
Nipples.
Luge.